Let's go. Let's go.
Right. Got a nap in, and now he's ready to go. All right, dude. That's how we're gonna start the show with Jake. Jake just woke up from a nap, but we are back on a Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. Jake was getting a nice nap in on a rainy day in Wisconsin. We're gonna have Tim Dillard with us in about 15 minutes. So we are gonna start. We're gonna use that 15 minutes to talk about the Packers for a little bit. So there's a few things, basically three main things that I want to hit. The first one is Jarran Reed. That's an easy one to talk about. Get out of the way. Basically, he's defensive line depth. He's a really, really big guy. He's on par, like size-wise, with Snacks Harrison. He's about that size, maybe a little bit thinner, but he's over 300 pounds.
He's 331 from what I saw.
See, now, I talked to somebody about this on Facebook yesterday. Somebody said that he saw 303. Somebody said 306. Football Reference has him at 313. So
let me look it up right here.
So I'm gonna stick with 313. Pro Football Reference is usually pretty trusty, so I'm gonna stick with 313. Anyways, he doesn't really miss games ever, so he's pretty durable, and he's shown some pass rush prowess in the past. He had one season of 6.5 sacks, and he had one season of 10.5 sacks. So he's had some success rushing the pass. You put him and Kenny on the same line. Either he can free some space up for Kenny to go do his thing, or Kenny can free some space up for Jarran Reed to go do his thing. It's basically just defensive line depth. It doesn't stop the Packers from drafting a defensive lineman, but it does make it so that they don't have to spend a first-round pick on one if they don't want to.
True. Well, me and you have been doing mocks. Our guy that we're really into has been falling to that 50 range. So
yeah, dude, if we can get him with one of the second-round picks, I'd be happy with that.
Oh, I'm about to go crazy if we get him and two wide receivers, dude. Seriously.
Right?
Go crazy.
All right, so speaking of wide receiver, why don't we transition into Davante Adams? Now, the trade itself for Davante Adams, basically, we got a first and a second-round pick for a guy who could have just chose to not play football this year and then go to the Raiders, and we get nothing. The Raiders could have paid him extra, and we could have gotten 2 firsts, but they really had no incentive to do that. They could have just waited the year for him. But by doing the deal they did, they got a first and a second round pick from the Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders.
I almost wrote down Oakland on my sheet.
Now, with that, they saved themselves some money, so they re-signed Robert Tonyan and Rasul Douglas, which is very good news.
Yep.
Now, what I wanted to address here is why we should not compare the Davante Adams trade directly to the Tyreek Hill trade. Because I knew it was going to happen as soon as I saw it, that the Chiefs got a first, a second, 2 fourths, and a sixth, I believe, for Tyreek Hill, and I knew it. I knew it was going to happen, that people were going to go, we only got a first and a second for Davante. What is Gutekunst doing? Fire him. So let me get your thoughts on comparing the trades, and then I'll say what I'm thinking if it's anything else to add to what you got. What's up, Dan, by the way?
What's up, Dan? So first of all, you have to take everything in consideration. It's been a really crazy offseason. A lot of stars moving. Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan just got moved recently. Obviously, we know Davante. Tyreek Hill got moved today. Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
We got Khalil Mack getting traded. He's still a star on defense. I mean, and the thing that you got to take into consideration, in my mind, is the team that they're going to. So the Raiders were in the playoffs last year, and they need wide receiver help. So from everything I read, they didn't want to give up the first and the second. And Gutekunst really pushed for it. He's like, listen, you're going to give me a first and a second, or you're not getting this wide receiver. So that's how this is working. Waiting for Jake's pie in my face. Oh, God. We're not going to go there. But the thing about the Russell Wilson, that was the first thing it was compared to, is Russell Wilson is a quarterback, right?
Yep.
So that's a premier position. Obviously, wide receiver is too. And then
it's a much longer shelf life on a quarterback, too.
Exactly. Davante Adams is about to be 30 years old. By the end of his contract, he's going to be, 35? And Tyreek Hill is 28 years old.
So that was my biggest sticking point. So Tyreek Hill literally just turned 28. Like, March 1st was his birthday. And Davante will be 30 on Christmas Eve.
So this is Davante's last big contract, where Tyreek Hill could set himself up to get another contract after this. So this
Tyreek
is a
Hill will
guy.
be 32 when his contract is up.
He can still get another contract if he has some
Yep.
speed. If he still has some speed, he'll get another contract depending on how
Emmanuel
everything shakes
Sanders
out.
is like 90 and he's still playing. So
Exactly. Actually, he's 33, so that's right around the same age. That's a great
I thought
comparison.
Sanders was 35, but all right.
I thought he was 33. Might not be good on my numbers today, but yeah, I'm looking at so many baseball numbers. I got a billion numbers in my head right now.
Yeah,
Baseball
we'll
has
definitely do
so
baseball
many
today.
numbers, man. So many numbers,
Lots,
so
yeah.
many statistics. It's crazy. But when you really think about it, I think the Packers got a lot. I want to address your dad's comment real quick.
Yeah,
I love that Smith went to the Vikings. That is so funny to me. And then, did you see Rashawn Gary's comment underneath?
I did not.
Oh man! So Zadarius tweeted out, "Meet at the quarterback." And then Rashawn Gary shared a picture where he's kind of sacking Zadarius Smith and Kirk Cousins because he's laying on top of him. And he said, "I agree." He said, "Put cheese on everything." That he puts that on every one
that's
of his
awesome.
posts.
That's
And
awesome.
it was like, I love it. That was awesome. That's funny to me because Vikings fans, they were talking all this shit about him, how he wasn't that good, and now he's on our team, so now he's great. He's an all-pro again.
Actually, no, we cut him, so it's like, oh, you cut one of your best players, and then he sucks when he's on the team. Then you
And he
cut one of
played
your
like
best
50
players.
snaps.
Yeah,
So that one is awesome. The Devontae stuff, everybody just needs to chill out.
yeah.
Miami is a desperate team. They always have to sign people. They don't have a quarterback. They just signed one of the best left tackles, Teron Armstead.
Yep.
So that was a good move for them. They're
Yep.
trying to help Tua as much as they can. Now they got Waddle and Hill, so they're surrounding him with a lot of talent. The thing about Devontae is Hunter Renfro's a good player, Waller's a good player, but that team still has no offensive line, still has no defensive backfield.
And
Obviously, Hill.
they can't keep their offensive backfield healthy either.
Yeah, because they're just getting whacked right
Yep.
away. Same thing with Derek Carr. He's running for his life a lot of the time. So when you take into consideration that Devontae didn't want to be here, he's posting all this stuff how it was a dream come true to play for the Raiders. It's like, all right, I'll take a first and a second, and we'll just do this thing by committee instead of having the best wide receiver in the league.
Yep. And that's the thing that I'm most excited about for the Devontae trade is the opportunity that the Packers have now. And people, you need to just chill out. It's not going to happen instantly. We're not going to sign OBJ, Julio, and Landry the day after Devontae gets traded.
Yeah, and this isn't.
It's going to be a process. It's going to be a process. So the rumors are that they're interested in Landry, and that's it. I've seen fake quotes popping up of Rodgers saying, "Oh, Julio would be a great talent" or whatever. I'd love to play with him, stuff like that. Like, people have got to stop sharing fake quotes. We got to stop doing that.
No, God.
That's got to stop. I've seen some of it with the Zadarius to Minnesota too. Like, that stuff's got to stop.
Bro, we're in cancel culture and we're making up fake quotes.
Right?
Make it make sense. Make it make sense, dude.
Yeah, like the quote that Zadarius said that, like, I saw that the NFC North was for the taking or something like that. And it's like, he never said that. So people sharing quotes with that, and then you're confusing people that don't know where to go look to find out if that was actually said or not.
Mm-hmm.
So stop doing that. It doesn't benefit anybody. It really doesn't. Anyways, opportunity at wide receiver. So the draft is a month from tomorrow. So Jake and I are going to really start ramping up draft prep soon. I know it's fun. The Packers, they don't have to sign anybody. The Packers can roll into the draft, see what they come out of the draft with, and then look to sign somebody.
It's probably what's going to happen.
So, they might grab one guy before the draft. I'd like to see the Packers grab Landry before the draft and then pick what they can. Whether it's Olavi or Drake London or Treylon Burks or John Mechie. Like, there's tons of wide receivers in this draft. But, let's grab one veteran guy, kind of pair with Cobb, and you have some veteran leadership in your wide receiver room, and grab some young guys that can step in on day one. That way, instead of rolling with one great receiver and a few okay ones, we're going to roll with 3 or 4 solid wide receivers.
And Aaron Rodgers.
And
do
spread the ball out.
Do people forget we still have Aaron Rodgers? Rodgers was playing quarterback before Davante Adams became Davante Adams.
Yep.
We're not taking Odell Beckham Jr. He does not want to come here, clearly. Last year was the opportunity for Odell to come to Green Bay. It really was. We looked like the best team. We were the number 1 seed. Like, last year was the time to come to Green Bay. If he didn't come here last year, he ain't coming at all. He's going to stick out in L.A. He's going to rehab in that nice sunny state in California. He's going to come back to the Rams around playoff time, and then he's going to be ready to go for the Rams. That's what's going to happen with Odell. Sorry. I mean, all the Packers fans, and I'm an Odell fan, but all the Packers fans that want Odell, it's not happening. All the Packers fans that want Julio, stop. All the Packers fans that want DK, stop. Please. I would love DK too, but it's just not going to happen. I don't want to give up a pick for him. I don't.
It's a rental too, because the Packers just showed their, like they were willing to pay Devontae.
Yeah.
But then they're going to end up in the same position with DK.
And they were kind of hesitant on it, and he's the clear-cut number one guy who's been with Rodgers for years and years, and they built that camaraderie. DK's coming in fresh, man,
and he gets shut down by Jalen Ramsey when he plays.
Yeah, Devontae does not. So
yeah, no,
that's a good point. I didn't even think of that part. I didn't even think of that. That's true.
So the last thing that I want to talk about with the Packers is Aaron Rodgers. Now, I understand that when media is concerned with Aaron Rodgers, he is a very divisive person.
Yeah.
Because some people don't like the way that he carries himself as a person, which is fine. You don't have to like Aaron Rodgers the person, and you can still like Aaron Rodgers the football player. You can do that.
Yeah.
But what people need to stop doing is stop blaming Aaron Rodgers for every single personnel move that happens. Like blaming Aaron Rodgers for Devontae Adams being traded, or blaming Aaron Rodgers for Zadarius Smith being cut, or blaming Aaron Rodgers for not bringing in this free agent or that free agent, or burning bridges here or there. Aaron Rodgers knew Devontae Adams wasn't coming back to the team when they put the franchise tag on him. Aaron Rodgers knew that. He still chose Green Bay. We need to give Aaron Rodgers credit for that. He literally showed that his favorite player, maybe Bakhtiari, I would argue, but his basically his favorite player on the team wasn't going to be here, and he chose to stay.
He called Devontae probably the best player he played with in his career, and that's saying something, man, because we've had a lot of really, really good players come through Green Bay in Rodgers' tenure.
Yeah. So we really need to give Aaron Rodgers credit for the loyalty that he showed by still choosing to stick around, knowing that Devontae wasn't going to be here. And we also need to stop blaming Aaron Rodgers for whatever salary cap stuff is going on, and stop saying that Aaron Rodgers is taking up 25% of the cap space, because that's not true. Aaron Rodgers makes an average of $50 million a year, but that's not what his cap hit is. And now we were talking in the group chat, actually, that Jake and I are in. People are doing the same thing to Patrick Mahomes with the Tyreek Hill thing. They're like, Mahomes makes up a quarter of the cap space, so they don't have anything to give to Tyreek Hill. That's not true. Aaron Rodgers is on the cap for $28 million this year, not 50. He's making 50, but he's not on the cap for 50. Mm-hmm. So every move that happens isn't because Aaron Rodgers is making $50 million. That's not the case. So cutting Zadarius Smith was a business move, saving $15 million. Yeah, we've been preparing for that since like week 4.
Yeah, we knew when Rashawn Gary was getting 2 sacks and 4 pressures and tackling running backs behind the line of scrimmage in week 7. We were like, yeah, Zadarius is probably gone.
Yeah,
we knew that last year.
Yeah. So, and then, like I said, we can't sign anybody because of Aaron Rodgers' contract, and, guys don't want to be here because of Aaron Rodgers. Like, that stuff's just simply not true. It's just simply not the case.
Agreed. I mean, I was watching Aaron Rodgers highlight videos today over his career, and I'm seeing him throw darts to Jared Abbrederis and Jeff Janis and James Jones, and I'm like, those guys, none of those guys are special, man. And Rodgers is making them look pretty freaking good, So we bring in some first round talent, and Rodgers, I believe, still at this point, still hasn't thrown a touchdown to a wide receiver drafted in the first round.
Not a wide receiver. Mercedes Lewis was the first round pass catcher that he had.
So say the Packers go crazy, we get 2, right? Let's just play hypothetical real quick.
If we get Olave and Burks in the first round.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If they get 2 first round guys, and you know, the crazy thing is football players are just evolving, right? Like they're getting bigger, they're getting faster, they're getting stronger. Like these guys are now growing up to be 6'5", 230 pounds. They're still running 4.4s. And you're like, Jesus, I thought that was only one guy that did that, Calvin Johnson. Now all of you do that? That's crazy. So you give Rodgers a couple guys. That's why I'm saying by committee. Give us a committee of guys. You know, okay, we can't just key on this guy. We can't just triple cover Devontae and let's see if Lazard can win a one-on-one. Now we have 2-3 guys out there at a time that can beat coverage. Now Rodgers, the ultra mastermind who can read the defense in a split second, has 3 guys out there and the running backs and a great offensive line.
And Tunyon.
It's about to be crazy, man. That's all I'm saying.
And it's a good draft for tight ends, too.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to say anything else about the Packers?
No, I'm really excited for draft season.
Me too.
This is going to be freaking awesome, man. I'm excited. The draft just got so much more exciting after the Devontae trade, man. It
really did. I agree.
It just went up from, you know, I was already at like an 8, man, because I love the draft stuff. Now I'm easily at a 10. I'm like, bro, let's do this. Let's see what happens. I mean, we still got to fill like an edge rusher. We still got to fill some other little holes, you know. So we'll see what happens.
Tackle, man. I would say, is one. Maybe maybe an inside linebacker.
Yeah, man. I keep hearing things about freaking Balaga. I'm like, good Lord, bringing that guy back. You might as well just sign 2 right tackles at that point because Balaga's definitely getting injured during the season.
Bring back J.C. Treader and move him over to tackle.
Oh, Jesus, no.
Just bring back all the former Packers that are free agents. Is Casey Hayward signed anywhere yet?
I don't think so, actually.
I don't know how old he is either, but
I think he's got to be like 32, 33. Let me see. Casey Hayward
I'm not sure.
age. Pops right up. He is 32. He'll turn 33 on September 9th.
Emmanuel Sanders is 35, by the way, so I was right on that.
Oh, wow. I did not think he was that super old. I was trying to give him some credit. Like, geez. Wow. He's old as a wide receiver. He's still getting paid, man. Wow.
All right. Here we go.
Look at his name. Look at his name down there.
That's his Twitter. You know that?
Why?
You don't know that that's his Twitter?
He's like...
That's his Twitter handle.
He's Weiler Tilkins.
Oh, look at this guy. He even wore a duck shirt.
Oh, my goodness. What's going on, man?
Quacktastic. Yeah. Sorry I'm late. I had to download Google Chrome. Y'all didn't tell me I had to download another web thing.
You didn't
Good thing
have
I'm
to.
fancy,
I
though.
don't think so. All right. Well, you get to learn new things every day, and you get to learn how to download Google Chrome. At least you didn't have to have your kids show you how to do it or anything like that. So you're not too old.
Yeah, thanks. Wait, is this in HD? Let me know.
Oh, you are.
We could put you front. We could put you front and center too. We could make it really.
I think your picture's better than mine, man.
I'm like a 480 clarity guy. That'll work.
we're gonna make you big. So we're excited to have you back because we're gonna ask you some questions and then we're gonna do our Brewers Primer. So the timing worked out awesome for when you were able to join us. So it just kind of worked out really well. So we had a handful of questions. My first question I wanted to ask you is, how was your first year at Valley Sports, Wisconsin?
Ooh, it was very nice. I was surprised on how much I would enjoy it. Right, I've done a little bit of that stuff, but to do this many games over this amount of time, I just didn't know how it was gonna play out. But it was a learning curve. You know, it was a process. My first few months first 6 months were tough, but no, it was good. It was good. I enjoyed myself probably too much, and I'm looking forward to doing it again.
Oh, got somebody asking for the best Harry Carey impression. That's definitely Tim Dillard.
Right out of the gate. Hi, everybody. You might see this coffee mug. You might think it's coffee. Wink. Actually, it's coffee. I spilled it all over my office just moments ago. But
oh no! Oh no!
All right. So I saw your post on Twitter, but I want to let people know, what did you do during the lockout?
Yeah, good point. I forgot what I posted.
It was a pretty long list, so you must have stuck pretty busy.
Yeah, I mean, I made it. It's been a couple weeks, since I threw that one out there. I can look at my photos. I don't know. I did lots of stuff. Mainly a bunch of kid stuff. Like my daughter had a gymnastics thing. I've been going to baseball practices and teaching cheerleading somehow. All sorts of stuff. Let me see. This is it right here. I unjoined a gym. So today I went back to the gym. Actually, Monday I went back to the gym. And some guys that I know there, they're like, "Hey, man," he's like, "I heard you unjoined a gym." I was like, "I'm getting back." So I gotta cross that one off the list. Read half a book. You know, it wasn't really a real book. It was more like a magazine. You guys ever read those highlights? Remember highlights as a kid? They're in the doctor's office. Yeah. So half of one of those. Yeah. I did go curling, and I am terrible at it. I mean, you see curling on TV, you see the guy with the cool mustache in the Olympics, and it's like it looks really easy. It is super hard, super hard. A lot of props to.
Were you the pusher or were you the scrubber?
Well, you got to do both, and nice. If I was pushing it, I would push it too hard, and if I was scrubbing, didn't know what I was doing. So I served zero. I served zero purpose, but it was sponsored by Miller High Life, so there you go.
Oh boy.
Oh, wow. I wanted to ask you about a potential rule change. I shouldn't say a potential rule change, a rule change that's coming. What do you think about Major League Baseball banning the shift?
Banning the shift? Well, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff on. I'm a pitcher, so I don't. Shift actually hurt me because the way they used to figure out the shift is it didn't matter if you were a left-handed pitcher that threw over the top, or if you were like me and threw right-handed and threw sidearm, right? They would shift the guys in the same spots. So it actually was a detriment to me in a lot of ways. And I fought against the shift the whole time. I was like, stop shifting on me. And so I can see the frustration actually for both sides. I know Joey Gallo, I was in spring training with him a few years ago. And anyway, he's a big, like, why is there 4 or 5 guys standing in right field? And then you hear people like Fred Lynn talking about, they shifted on Ted Williams, and he found a way to still hit 406. So to me, it comes down to, the shift. We're at a point in baseball where the single is great, but everybody wants a double and a home run. Like everybody. Yep. The management wants a double and a home run. Everyone in the dugout wants a double and a home. Like single, they would rather you almost strike out. They want to go for the double or the home run. So to maximize that, if they are going to ban the shift, which I don't think they're doing it this year, isn't it going to
next year? Yep, that was next year. Yep.
Yeah, so really all that's going to do is there's going to be more extra base hits. Hard to foresee anybody average like really skyrocketing. I think it may go up a little bit, but not in the amounts that they're thinking. But you'll probably see offense go up a little bit.
I think what it really boils down to is it takes away the ground ball that would normally go between the first and second baseman. That being a hit that gets fielded by the guy that's standing out in right field for no reason. That being an out, and then when left-handed batters hit line drives that would have fallen in front of the right fielder that get caught because there's a guy just standing out there in no man's land. So I think, in my opinion, those are the two things that baseball is looking to get rid of.
Well, I mean, look at Big Papi or Prince Fielder. I mean, those guys were like, "Oh, you're going to shift me? Well, I'm just going to dink it over here." Yelich did it a few times, and everyone kind of laughs at it, but honestly, if I'm a manager and I'm shifting big time on somebody, and they decide to get 2 hits the opposite direction, I'm going to rethink the whole shifting thing. Even if they're singles. As a pitcher, I'm going, hey, this is great and all, but I need someone to pick up that 20 hopper, that made it to the outfield grass. Like, I need that sucker back. That's a ground ball to third, and now the guy's standing on second. Like, what are we doing here? So to create confusion, if batters, I think, if they could do their best to get the hits opposite field, especially when they're given to you, I think you would have saw the shift dissolve quicker than having MLB step in and yet change another rule.
Yeah, they love changing rules, don't they? That's a good point, though. Even just right-handed pitching versus left-handed pitching, like the angles that you pitch at, too, that's something that I don't think actually really gets talked about very much when it comes to the shift.
Well, there's actually 2 teams that I've seen. I don't know if I've seen any others do this or not, and even do this at the AAA level. At least I know the Dodgers do. But Dodgers and Giants, and I think Gabe Kapler, who's now the manager of the Giants, I think he started this when he was farm director or whatever he was for the Dodgers before that. But when they're on defense and they bring in one of their pitchers, they have somebody from their dugout run out to the outfield and give out little laminated cards, which means it's very specific to that pitcher. It's not, we're just going to shift on this batter regardless of who's pitching. No, they're shifting, in accordance with that particular pitcher on the mound, which I think is the way it should go. And as far as I know, I've only seen 2 teams do it, Giants and Dodgers. But to me, I mean, you're going to at least shift on what the pitcher is most likely to give up rather than just what the hitter is going to do.
That's brilliant.
That's a really good point.
Not sure I was going with that, but
that's brilliant.
That's a really good point, actually. I could see Craig Counsell doing something like that. So it would kind of surprise me if he doesn't. But that is a really good point.
They have a lamination machine, so I mean, they may get on that. They may do that. I think they have different cards in the dugout, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody, except for those 2 teams, run a guy out there. And I was forced to watch baseball this year at the big league level. That was part of my job. I had to watch it. So the only 2 teams I saw do it, Giants and Dodgers.
All right.
I would say that you know what you're talking about then, if you were watching the games.
I sound good, but who knows?
All right, Jake, you had a question you wanted to ask that I thought was a good one, so I'll let you ask that one so I don't have to ask all the questions.
So I was wondering if there's anybody on the team that is going to be a breakout player. If you have multiple, you can give multiple. But I was just wondering, who is your candidate for breakout player this year on the Brewers?
Yeah. Wow. I don't know. I think realistically, and this is one of those things that as a player, when you hear it, it sounds different. I know I'm not a player anymore, but mentally, I still feel like I'm a player. Body says no. But one of the things is anybody has the chance to do that. Anybody. True. You can't to try to go out and predict it. Of course, I'm just doing that because obviously who knows what my prediction will be. I think Luis Urias laid groundwork to be an impact player last year. I think the Brewers would not have made playoffs if they didn't have Luis Urias. And the reason is because he did well, then they put him everyday shortstop, and he didn't do as well. And then they brought in Willy Adames, and Willy Adames, that move in putting Urias to third made him so much better. I think he's an excellent defender. I just think most of his errors came from shortstop, and I know the guy can hit. So for me, I want to say Luis Urias. He's a really fun player to watch. He has a great intensity. Wong is going to be Wong. He's going to have a great. Adames is, guy can play. You can just see he already has an opposite field home run in spring training.
Yep.
So when a guy's crushing a ball with power to opposite field, that's a great sign in spring training. I would like to see Tyrone Taylor finally get a shot to be able to play a lot. That's what I want to see. I think picking up Andrew McCutchen is the right move. I think he's going to make the team so much better. But in case there's an injury in there across the board to one of those 3 to 4 outfielders, I'm going to see Tyrone Taylor get some significant playing time this year. But I think Rowdy Tellez, I'm going to go Luis Urias and Rowdy Tellez. I think if they get to be playing every single day, I think we're really going to see the talent that these guys have, and in different ways too. Rowdy's, 6 foot whatever, and Urias is 5 foot whatever. So you got different ends of the infield doing amazing things. That's what I'm looking for. Those 2 guys.
Okay. Luis Urias, I think, would have been my pick as well.
Okay. Cheat sheet. Yeah.
You should see the rest of my notes that I have for the rest of the discussion that we planned on doing.
Let's go.
Had one of the guys ask, did Brent Suter give you any cheerleading advice?
Cheerleading advice? Oh, for the cheerleading? Yeah. No. I mean, he'd probably be a good candidate, right? He was back in college. He was the one that was part of that viral video or whatever. He was on like the Today Show and all that. I'm sure he helped choreograph. He's been in a lot of my videos. He helps choreograph that. But no, this was like we don't have a family of cheerleaders. My daughter's starting to do that. So they send a video of this, of how to do the cheer. It's like, it's impossible. And you start going, okay. So there's an arm here. No, wait, that's their right arm. It's going to be your left arm. No, wait. like, what are you doing? Like, you see cheerleaders and they're bouncing around and doing stuff, and you're like, anybody could do that. They can't. It's really tough. But anyway, needless to say, I know a middle school routine that I could do for y'all right now. And
oh boy.
Does
your camera zoom out and we can watch? That would be awesome.
Nah, you can watch me hurt my back.
Spill more coffee.
That's what he would slip on, is the spilt coffee already.
I know. Sloshing around. There's towels everywhere. Oh, well. At least the computer works. The computer works. That's good.
All right, hey, then we're good to go.
So one thing that Jake and I wanted to do before we kind of went through the roster was We wanted to do our bold predictions with you. So Jake and I do this with every team that we prime. We make bold predictions, and some of them they're pretty bold. We get pretty spicy with these bold predictions.
Spicy.
So Jake and I want to. That reminds me. Did you find a new favorite thing at Taco Bell yet?
Yeah, they got it's not Fritos. It's like those spicy toast. I don't know, those strips, tortilla strips. Yeah, it's in something. I forgot the name of it. I don't want it once. But I was so disappointed when I went, and I was like, "Can I get like 4 beefy Frito burritos?" And they're like, "Yeah, we don't do that." And I was just like, "I'm gonna rip this thing out." I was like, "All right, well, give me a chicken chipotle melt." And they're just like, "Yeah, no, we just stopped doing that." And I'm like, "Good Lord, what do you have? Give me something." But
I can give me some good news. The chicken chipotle melt is back, actually. So you got that.
Is it really? Well, it's not back at every location is what I found. I looked online.
Oh.
Sounds like it's just kind of popping up at different places. So with gas prices the way they are, I mean.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you are ever super, super bored, they have them in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and I could show them to you.
Why would I be bored? I mean, if I'm in Sheboygan, that's probably, I'm going to eat up all the scenery in all the places. Yeah. Sheboygan, real big in Sheboygan.
Big in Sheboygan. Yep, that's it. How do you feel about nacho fries? Nacho fries are back too.
They're okay. First time I had them, I was walking back from a game in El Paso, which you're not supposed to. You're supposed to take the shuttle to the hotel, but I like to walk everywhere. And there was a Taco Bell right outside the hotel, and I was like, nacho fries? Like, what is this? I was like, gotta try it. And they were okay. They're okay. I've maybe had them 2 or 3 times in my life, but yeah, just why go there when there's other stuff, right? Why go nacho fries when you can get something really awesome? Yeah.
I had a steak quesadilla guy, man. I just stick with the classic. It's
whatever sauce they put in there with the quesadillas. I mean, that's just I mean, dip a napkin in that and eat it. That's all you need. Can I just get a tube of that sauce? You know which one I'm talking about? Yeah.
Just put it in an IV, actually, and just hook it right up. All right, Jake. Let's do bold predictions. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'm going to go first.
Okay.
I'm excited. Okay, so my first one.
We should get this segment sponsored by Taco Bell. That'd be good stuff.
See, now
man, that's the second time I've heard that today. Somebody else told me you should get sponsored by Taco Bell. And, have you ever seen The Blind Side?
Not for a while.
Tim McGraw and Sandra Bullock. Yeah, so the characters they play, the Tuohys, are actually friends with my wife's aunt and uncle. And so I'm still trying to make that connection where maybe I can meet them and say, will you put me on a poster for Taco Bell or something? Like just a commercial, a lifetime card, something like that is all I'm looking for. Not a big deal. But yeah, anyway, sorry. I doubt they're going to sponsor your segment. I've reached out. I haven't gotten an email back.
Wow.
I guess we need more followers. We got to work on that.
That's why we're here. Let's go.
We're trying, man. All right. So, first one, my first bold prediction is the Brewers will finish with the best bullpen in the entire major leagues. The lowest batting average. I mean,
that's how you're doing it. Lowest batting average and like fewest runs allowed or something like that.
Lowest ERA. Yeah, I'm looking for them to just dominate because I think they have the talent at the back end of the bullpen to be able to do stuff like that.
Well, I think you look at what Josh Hader has done and created down there, and he's been so consistent, right? Like, how could someone say, well, he's bound to have a bet? The guy's legit. And watch him in spring training, and it's just an optical illusion. Guys can't hit it. And then you got Devin Williams coming back. He's going to be healthy. Yes. Brent Suter doing his thing. I mean, they have all the pieces. Boxberger was amazing last year, and he didn't even make the opening day roster bullpen. Think about that. And, they're going to have – if they're not number one, they're number 2. But I think they'll be number 1 because I know there's some good bullpens out there, but that many pieces – It's tough. It's tough to bet against them, which you're not allowed to bet in baseball, right?
Yeah.
Or
you can't do it in football either. The other guy that you mentioned, if we're still talking about the bullpen, is Jake Cousins. He kind of just burst out of nowhere last year, and it's like, damn, this guy's actually got really good stuff. Like he pitched 30 innings in 30 games, had a 2.70 ERA last year, and 44 strikeouts.
Yeah.
his slider is it's devastating. It's one of those pitches where, so if he was a starter and he threw it every pitch, I think hitters would be able to make adjustments on it. But the guy's not a starter. So you only see him maybe once a series, and you probably, maybe 3 select batters out of the entire lineup get to go up there, and they see this slider it's just, I mean, watching guys, they can't pick it up. It's something like it comes in, and right when they commit, the ball is still there. I mean, they're like, I'm going to hit this ball, and they still think it's there. And then right when they're about to make contact, the ball moves about 2 feet. It's one of the most late breaking sliders that I've seen in person, and one of the most fun guys to watch pitch because I felt at times that's kind of the way I threw, because not every time is your breaking ball going to be your best pitch. And he's got a great fastball, and you would almost think the old school way of thinking, all right, let me get 2 strikes and then I'll throw the slider. Well, that's not the case anymore. The Yankees about 5 or 6 years ago, at one point at the All-Star break, had thrown more off-speed pitches than fastballs. So there's a wave coming through of, hey, if it's your best pitch, don't get beat by a second best pitch. Go ahead and go out there, go with your best pitch. Devin Williams with the changeup. I mean, go out there, throw this slider. And I think that's what he did. When he did the best, he went out there and it was slider, slider, slider. It's a 1-2 count. What's he going to throw? And it's a slider. And the hitter's like, 4 just nasty pitches. Like, what are you going to do? So yeah, that guy's legit. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, I like Jake Cousins. He might be one of my breakout candidates if I had to pick one.
It's tough to pick a bullpen breakout guy. I mean, you're talking about opportunities and all sorts of moves and all that kind of stuff. It's easier to pick a position player.
Yeah, you see them a lot more often.
You can kind of project those stats, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So this is my stepmom, my dad's wife. On the subject of Sheboygan, this is what she had to say: that she has 3 Dillard bobbleheads that she'd love to get autographed if you were in Sheboygan.
Ooh, okay, yeah. Trying to think. How far away is it from Milwaukee?
It's like 45 minutes north.
Oh, that's nothing.
The speed limit.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I just have to pick a night where a day I can head up there. I do need a place to crash though. So, is that where you're broadcasting from now? The basement?
That's yeah.
Do you have a couch?
Not me.
I have a couch.
I'm in Neenah.
Oh, okay. You have a couch, right?
My dad and his wife would probably pay you to sleep on their couch.
Big fans. Big fans.
Just the way you said that. I'm going to go ahead and pass. But yeah, that's all right. There you go. There's a goal. I got invited to a town last year. Like some guys were like, "Hey man, you want to come and just hang out with us?" So totally did it. Brought Dario Melendez too. Dario was there for a couple hours and then he bounced. But yeah, there it is.
That would be awesome. Actually,
I'm going to Sheboygan.
Take you bowling into Taco Bell, and that'll be some of our lives.
No, I'm going to need a list of stuff I have to do, and I'll make sure I do them all.
Bowling is kind of a must, in my opinion.
That is. I will. You know what? As soon as we're done with this, I will put that list together.
Perfect. Well, I bowl as good as I curl, so don't expect much.
Any sport with a slippery surface, Tim Dillard is out.
Yeah, right. Unless I can wear spikes, that's what I'm used to, I guess.
All right. My first bold prediction is I'm going to stick with pitching. My first bold prediction is that Corbin Burns is going to win back-to-back Cy Young awards.
Wow. Can he do it? Of course he can. But it's kind of a rare thing. You almost want to say that Brandon Woodruff has a chance too. I saw somebody's list on MLB Network of like the top 10 starting pitchers. Did y'all see this?
Yep, I did see that. One that had Burns at 9.
Yeah, I don't know who the guy was that some of them were okay, but I saw one. I was going, no shot. I was about to take a picture and tweet it and be like, man, you're missing about 7 names
out of your top 10.
Yeah, but that's a good thing though when you have that many good pitchers, starting pitchers throughout all of baseball. But then you go specifics, like which team has like the best starting rotation. And it's hard to say that the Brewers don't have the best starting rotation. I mean, that just I don't know much about Eric Lauer's groin injury. I guess he had a couple days ago. Still waiting to hear, maybe some finality on that. But as far as those top 4 guys, I mean, they're as good as anybody out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you could throw Hauser in there too. I'm gonna spoiler alert. I have a bold prediction about Hauser, but I mean,
Hauser's my go-to guy. I'm the biggest Hauser fan.
Uh-oh.
That guy, because he's a sinker baller. I love the sinker, and right
okay.
now, hardly anybody in baseball is throwing sinkers, but when they do, they are effective. So not everyone's going to strike out the world. He can go out there and get the world to ground out.
Yep.
And that's okay too.
That's why Eric Lauer and Adrian Hauser are kind of underappreciated.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff and Freddie Peralta, they're all going to try to strike you out. They're all power pitchers that are just going to throw you nasty stuff, try to strike you out. And then you got Lauer and Hauser will take just a couple miles an hour off some of their pitches, and they'll just get you to ground out all game.
And that's okay. There's more than one way to get something done like that in baseball. You don't have to throw 100. You don't have to have an amazing cutter. If you just throw it up there and make it move, look at Greg Maddux. That's a really good way to carve out a career, and it's really good for your arm.
Right.
But
you don't have
for
to throw
me,
as many pitches.
Exactly. And I saw Hauser the other day. He was perfect. He went out there and he was throwing the ball, was moving a ton. And I promise none of these hitters go through the offseason going, I'm going to hit off this pitching machine. I'm going to set it up to throw two-seamers. No one does that because there's not that many guys that you're going to face throwing two-seamers. They're willing to throw that at bat away. Like, oh, well, I wasn't ready for that one, but I'm not going to face this guy that much. So I think right now, for the next couple years, being a sinker baller is really going to be it's going to be a really good thing to do.
All right. Jake, you want to hit us with your second bold prediction?
You just said my second bold, but I'm going to think of one while you're saying your second one. So I'll give my first. Okay. My first is Yelich is going to return to MVP form. He's going to hit 288. He's going to hit 40 home runs and 110-plus RBIs. That's my
40
prediction.
home runs? That's a lot of home runs, man.
Hey, when I say MVP form, he's going to return, man. 40 bombs, baby. I'm ready.
That's what you wrote?
Yes.
Yeah, 40 home runs. Wow.
That's my notebook. That's my notebook.
Yeah. 40 home runs right there. 110 RBIs, 288.
I don't have a notebook.
I like that you and I are similar in some ways, but I don't like it when you steal my bold predictions.
You just stole mine, but we're
just
okay.
Right out of my notebook. Yelich 40 home runs. Okay. All right. Well, one of the points that I wanted to make about Yelich possibly hitting 40 home runs is that he's probably going to get some time at DH this year. So like you were mentioning with Tyrone Taylor possibly getting some more opportunity this year, you could stick Tyrone Taylor out in the outfield and still have Yelich's bat in the lineup at DH. So I think that maybe takes some stress off of his back and whatever other injury he ends up potentially dealing with, if he does, or Lorenzo Cain if he deals with injuries. But being able to stick Yelich at DH once in a while and still keep his bat in the lineup, I think that could assist him into getting to that higher home run number.
That's a great point. You start looking at what the DH is going to do specifically with the Brewers. They have so many moving parts, and you're right. Lorenzo Cain going down with injuries a few times, Yelich in his back. I think it's going to alleviate a lot of pressure on guys having to perform. Otherwise it's like, hey, I need a day. It's not usually because they can't hit. It's usually because, man, you're going to stick me out in the outfield. If I can't run a ball down, that's a detriment, right? So let me just sit this out. But now they don't have, maybe a pinch hit in the seventh. Okay, great. Now it's like you can have that same bat and that same power and at their pace. And I mean, that's a great point. I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal that.
Yes.
Now I do have a notebook. I'm going to write that down. Yeah.
All right. So you might not like this one, but my last bold prediction was that the Brewers would trade Adrian Hauser for a left-handed bat, potentially a guy like Austin Meadows.
I mean, I don't see that happening. There's no reason to. I mean, they have control over most of these guys, and Hauser stays healthy. And if they stopped limiting innings or have a six-man, if they had a five-man rotation instead of six-man rotation, you're talking about 5 starting pitchers, at least, possibly 4 to 5 starting pitchers, throwing nearly 200 innings, getting 32 to 34 starts. We're talking back, look at the Giants when they had Lincecum and Matt Cain and Bumgarner. Like we're talking about that. We're talking about the Cardinals having Lance Lynn and Wainwright and Carpenter. You're talking about those kind of workhorses, and you got them in 3 and 4. So why would you give a guy away that has that potential? So I think he's under control for a little while.
I think he's either 24 or 25. It might be 24. But
this is probably something I'm supposed to know. I'm not on the clock yet.
Yeah. That's something that Jake and I have talked about is what the Brewers could potentially do. It feels like they need another bat or maybe another first baseman, somebody to back up Rowdy, or if they're going to maybe roll with Keston Hiura. Did you hear about Craig Counsell saying that Keston Hiura might get some innings in the outfield?
Well, he did play left field for an inning last year, right? Something happened. Somebody got hurt. They moved him from first to left field in the middle of an inning, I believe, and actually made a play, because that's how it is. As soon as you get out in the field, the ball will find you. Promise you that. It's gonna. I mean, just like last year for Keston, it's definitely gonna be. Oh, that's my alarm. I got to go pick my kid up from track. He can wait. It's all gonna come down.
Home. Yeah, see how fast he really is.
He's been running all day at school. Yeah, uphill both ways. Yeah, no, it's all going to come down to hitting. So the Brewers, they have their pitching set, and they're not in the business of giving up a lot of runs, but they have to score runs, and they don't even have to worry about, okay, is this guy hitting or not, because they'll just go get somebody else. They have a plethora of hitters. I mean, you look at Pablo Reyes, the guy rakes, Andrew McCutchen, Hunter Renfroe, Tellez. Like, they have guys that can do this. To me, it's if you can hit, they'll put you anywhere. If you can hit, they're going to find you. I think the hey, we're just waiting around to see what's going to happen is over. Or your spot for a lefty or righty. I think it's, if you can hit, we're going to shove you in that lineup at whatever place you can play, whatever we have a need for. And we know Craig Counsell loves that. We know that he loves to put guys a little bit out of their comfort zone and see what they get. And I mean, it's worked. The percentage is in his favor.
I'd put Jace Peterson everywhere in between.
Jace is the unsung hero. That guy is. I wanted to be him when I was a kid. Like, that's the kind of player I wanted to be. The dirtiest car in the parking lot. Go out there and just dominate, and then just, act like it's no big deal, because it's like, well, this is my job. It's what I'm supposed to do. They interview him and they're like, Jace Peters, that was a great walk-off base hit. That was a great double in the third. He's like, yeah, I'm a baseball player. This is what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, man, that's what I wanted to be. So, yeah, that guy's awesome. See, they have so many options. It's just that I think what you get from the Brewers that maybe you don't get from other teams is just excitement. I mean, I think we take it for granted. I took it for granted last year. You would see these games, and you're like, every single game is just so much fun. And you just, I don't know, these guys are just showcasing everything they can do every single game. And then you watch like maybe two other teams play, and you're kind of like, are these teams as exciting? So the Brewers are, I mean, they're awesome, and Milwaukee is spoiled, and Wisconsin's lucky to have them.
Oh, God. Don't get us into the conversation about how spoiled Wisconsin fans are, man. 'Cause, seriously, you took the word right out of my
spoiled?
mouth, though.
No, maybe I did.
Oh, they are spoiled. They are definitely spoiled. I mean, you look at the Bucks, you could tell that the camaraderie with that team, they all love each other. You get that feeling with the Brewers. They all love each other. They all like being around each other every day.
They're all goofballs, it seems like, too.
Yeah, and, Tyler was just texting me a couple weeks ago about watching all their intros and all their videos, and it's like they're funny. You enjoy them. I can sit down and watch a half an hour of that. It'd be funny for me. But just Wisconsin sports fans just get on my nerves sometimes, man.
Oh man,
all the dude. This has been on my mind for like 2 months now about how annoying this is.
Hey, if there was no fan bases, this wouldn't be the case. But we all know that fans come out in droves. I mean, there's sellouts after sellouts after sellouts, man. Wisconsin sports is pretty amazing. I do need to let y'all go, though. Otherwise, my kid will think he's having to run home.
Thank you for joining us. Hopefully, I mean, it would be awesome if I could work out to see you and hang out in person. But we would always love to have you back. It's always fun. It's always a lot of laughs having you on.
Message me on Twitter after this. Let me know what I got to do. I'll be there. April 7th is the first game, so I'll be there April 7th.
Awesome. Sounds good.
And if you want to learn something from bowling, my dad owns like 20 bowling balls, so he could teach you some bowling. I'll tell you that.
So I'm going to leave Sheboygan with a bowling ball. I mean,
you might. I'll have to see. He has a bunch of them, man.
Now I'm definitely coming, but I do have to go.
All right,
I appreciate it, guys.
Take it, man.
That would be like one of the most random things that your dad would ever tell people is like, yeah, this one time I gave Tim Dillard a bowling ball.
Right? See, look at him. I got one. I got one. I'm telling, dude, my dad literally has like 3-4 bags just sitting in the back room at his house. Bunch of bowling balls.
I believe that.
It's true.
Oh, that's awesome.
I had to give a shout out for my dad. Dillard, man, that guy's just born funny, I think.
I agree. It's all it's fun.
Look at he just bought 2 of them. Look at this guy.
Just bought 2. Oh, all right. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that'd be awesome. I mean, get Tim Dillard to come hang out in Sheboygan for a day. That'd be awesome.
I'll come up, man. That'll be sick.
All right. So now let's do the rest of our Brewers Primer. We kind of talked about the bullpen already.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of want to run through the starters, go through the position players, and we already did our bold predictions. So basically,
I got one more bold prediction.
Oh, okay. All right. You made another one? All right.
Yeah, I just cooked one up real quick.
So, all right. Go ahead.
Hey, you stole. I have Corbin Burns back-to-back Cy Youngs on here too. So we had two of the same. But I got this one. So the Brewers last year were 27th in batting average as a team at 233. Obviously, that was our downfall. I had a feeling about the Brewers, the same feeling I had about the Packers, right? Like, we knew what our weak link was. Same thing with the Packers. It was special teams.
Yep.
With the Brewers, it was batting average. Yep. So if they can get up to, go up a couple percentage points, get into the 240 range, 245 was 10th. If they can get into that 240, 245 range, this team's going to be unstoppable with how good they are at pitching. So that'll be my bold prediction. They're going to get up into the 240s in batting average.
All right. Well, we know how good the pitching is, so we have that. So let's start with the rotation.
Yep.
He said get on that itinerary.
I know.
All right. So starting with Corbin Burns, he's obviously the Cy Young winner. Had a major league best 2.43 ERA. Had the best fielding independent pitching, which measures your efficiency in striking batters out while not allowing home runs, walks, and hit by pitches. So Corbin Burns also led in that. He led in home runs per 9 innings, only gave up 0.4 home runs per 9 innings last year, which means it took him 22 and a half innings to give up a home run for Corbin Burns last year. That's insane.
Wow. That is.
Also led in strikeouts per 9 innings at 12.6 and strikeouts per walks. We know last year he started off with the 58 strikeouts before he pitched a walk.
The MLB record.
That was an MLB record to start the season. And then had the combined no-hitter with Josh Hader last September. So Corbin Burns is the number one. He's going to be the opening day starter. I assume you're looking at Brandon Woodruff for number 2. I'll let you take Woodruff.
Yeah, so Woodruff made the All-Star team last year. And if it wasn't for Corbin Burns just being absolutely insane, we'd be talking a lot more about Woodruff, So Woodruff, 9 wins, 10 losses, but that doesn't really,
You got to get him some run support. Oh, my God.
I was going to say, that doesn't really tell the tale of how really good he was, because he had the 4th best ERA in all of Major League Baseball at 2.56. So, I mean, this guy can strike people out. He had 211 strikeouts last year, which was 11th in the MLB. So you have those two on top of your rotation. You have a Woodruff and a Burns back-to-back, and then you follow it up with a Freddie Peralta. Holy camole, man. That's tough to come into, man. I mean, think about that.
Brandon Woodruff finished 5th in Cy Young voting.
Yeah.
Our second-best pitcher finished 5th in Cy Young voting.
It's just, that's crazy, man. I mean, these guys are just incredible, man.
So
incredible.
I refer to Burns, Woodruff, and Peralta as the big 3 because they're the strikeout guys, they're the power pitcher guys. Freddie Peralta was also an All-Star last year. He had a 2.81 ERA, 12.2 strikeouts per 9 innings, which is just insane. These
only
top
gonna get
3. And David Stearns is an absolute wizard. Before last season, locked Freddie Peralta up through the 2025 season for like $5 million change.
Attaboy.
Locked him up for a long time. So yeah, David Stearns is a wizard along with John Horst and Russ Ball. So after Freddie Peralta, who are you looking at?
Freddie Peralta. The next guy I have Adrian Hauser written down, and I like everything about Adrian Hauser's game. He comes in, and he's not the flashy guy. I mean, we just talked about it. He doesn't have, all the great, amazing stuff. He's a sinker baller, as we just talked about, but he still had some good stats. He had 10 wins, 6 losses. He pitched 28 games. He had a 3.22 ERA, which is still very, very solid,
pretty
very
solid,
respectable.
Yep.
And seven quality starts. So you're looking at your 4th guy and your 5th guy, and you're like, 7 quality starts? I'll take that, especially when you're so top-heavy in the rotation. And it's crazy because I actually think Adrian Hauser's good enough to be a 3 in a lot of rotations. But he, in our rotation, he's not, which is actually, a beautiful thing. So After that, who do you got?
After that, before we move on from Hauser, I do also want to say that I do majorly appreciate Adrian Hauser. Because of him, Matt Garza has not thrown the most recent complete game shutout in Brewers history. Now it's Adrian Hauser. So we got that monkey off the back, and we don't have to talk about Matt Garza anymore.
Thank God for
terrible
that.
Contract.
Yeah.
After that, I have Eric Lauer. The only lefty in the starting rotation, unless you count Aaron Ashby and Ethan Small, who I do want to mention before we move to the bullpen. But even Eric Lauer, he's a lefty. He's similar style-wise to Adrian Hauser. He's going to be trying to get you to ground out. He's not going to be trying to strike you out. He had a 3.19 ERA. So the Brewers last year, their starting lineup, their starting 5 rotation was doing, collectively things that had never been done before.
Yeah.
With the all the guys that they have under a 3.22 ERA, it's arguable, but I would, in my opinion, partially because I'm a Brewers fan, but the Brewers have one of, if not the best starting rotation in Major League Baseball.
Oh, 100%. I mean, oh man, I'd really have to dive into it, but they're easily top 3 in my opinion.
Yeah,
when you have you have 3 guys that are in the top 20 in total strikeouts.
Yep,
that right there already tells me that you're top 3.
I think the depth is what would come and really put them over the top with it, because like the Dodgers have some really, really good starters.
Yep.
And the Mets have DeGrom and Scherzer.
Yep.
So I mean, once you get 1 through 5, I would say the Brewers have the best.
Yep, I agree. You want me to take Aaron Ashby?
Sure.
Okay, so Aaron Ashby, obviously a guy that you could tell was just flashing potential last year. He has some really, really good stuff, but you could also tell that he was young. He made a couple of pitching mistakes. He would miss location every once in a while, but he got some postseason experience. He got some experience being in some tough spots. He started some games, came in the bullpen, so you're getting him looking at a lot of different scenarios in baseball in a lot of different ways. He was 5-4. He had a 4.41 ERA, so he got nicked around a little bit. But on the Brewers official site, he's listed as a starter/bullpen. So he's just a guy that is just going to be a tool for us to use, especially in a season where it's going to be kind of jam-packed, in my opinion.
Yeah. So the other thing is that the Brewers have done that in the past with guys. Like they did it with Burns, they did it with Peralta, where they'd use them out of the bullpen a little bit just to kind of get their feet wet in Major League Baseball, and then you make them a starter. The other guys, you kind of touched on this already, and that transitions well into Ethan Small. Is Greg Counsell, he likes his 6-man rotation, so he can limit innings, keep guys healthy and fresh. And this year with the condensed schedule, there's going to be a few doubleheaders, and there's going to be a few days where there was supposed to be an off day, but there's no longer an off day. So that's where you might see an Ethan Small make a spot start here and there, and just kind of pop up into the rotation. But Greg Counsell did say that Ethan Small will make some starts this year, so he's going to be another guy to keep an eye on as he comes into the Major League Baseball. Should we move into the bullpen? I mean, we kind of talked about the bullpen a good amount already, but we can get a little deeper if you want.
I have 4 people written down for the bullpen outside of Aaron Ashby. I have the 2 big guns, and then I have Boxberger and Jake Cousins, because those are my 2 other favorite pitchers in the bullpen. So we could talk about those guys if you want. I mean, I'll take Boxberger if you want to take Cousins.
All right. Well, I did already mention Cousins just kind of burst out of nowhere. He had 44 strikeouts in 30 innings and a 2.70 ERA, and we had Tim Dillard being able to explain to us how nasty his slider is. Like I said, it was really fun just to watch him come out of nowhere and then just throw nasty stuff and have the better Cousins than the one in Minnesota. So we got that going for us too.
I just want to keep taking it, just turning it, baby, just turn it, man. I love that.
All right, Brad Boxberger.
Yeah, Brad Boxberger. He's just he's a horse, man. He comes in. He pitched 71 games, which is impressive, man. He's 5-4, had a 3.34 earned run average. I mean, the guy just comes in and he just gets put in tough spots, 2 people on, and he'll just get you out of the inning. That's just the kind of guy he is, and you need those kind of guys to be a successful baseball team. So, Brad Boxberger re-signing, that just happened recently, right?
Like last week.
Yeah, like last week. So that was huge signing for us to bring him back. That was just that kind of changed because I already had my wins prediction written down, and then all of a sudden they bring Boxberger back. I'm like, oh man, that changes a few things for me, man.
Yeah,
because he's a guy that can determine a lot of that stuff, man.
The really nice thing the Brewers have set up here is, it's not always going to happen, but say you have a 5-inning start from somebody like Eric Lauer, you can go to Cousins in the 6th, Boxberger in the 7th, Devin Williams in the 8th, and Josh Hader in the 9th, and it's like, where is a team going to try to score in there? Like,
yeah,
the door is already shut after the 5th inning just ended.
Yeah, we talked about that, man, all last year, man, about how good the back end of this bullpen can really be.
So the next guy, kind of already talked about Devin Williams a little bit with Dillard. He mentioned his changeup. They call it the airbender. Devin Williams' changeup is absolutely disgusting. He had a 2.50 ERA. Devin Williams last season, 14.5 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Wow. Man,
that's nuts.
Guys,
absolutely nuts. So Devin Williams, he's going to be the 8th inning guy again, and then we move to the 9th inning. You want to do Josh Hader?
I mean, we could both do Josh because he deserves all the flowers that he's going to get, man. Josh Hader is just unhittable at times, and you know what he's going to throw. He throws 2 pitches. And he's just like, all right, 90% of this is going to be a fastball, but he hides the ball so well, and when he releases it, and then now it's going 96, 97, and you're like, holy camole, like that just got on me fast, So Josh Hader might be the best closer in baseball. That's a good. He
is the reigning reliever of the year in baseball, so he does have that. His 1.23 ERA, 34 saves. Devin Williams had 14.5 strikeouts per 9 innings. Josh Hader had 15.6.
Dude, Josh Hader's a monster. Josh Hader's an absolute monster.
But apparently, though, if you're from New York and you're a Mets fan, you think that we're trading him to the Mets, because that's what New York fans do, is they think we're just going to trade them all of our best players.
Man, I complain about Wisconsin fans, but, dude, those New York and Philly and Chicago, they're just so toxic. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Same with Yankees fans, think that we're just going to trade them Willy Adames. It's like, he got MVP votes last year. He saved our season, and we'll just give him
because
we'll give you three of our prospects, and that's what I hate. It's like I get that there's no salary cap in baseball, but just thinking that you can trade by other teams' best players just because you can, it's like it's not the same thing.
There just needs to be a salary cap. I'm sorry, there just needs to be a salary cap.
Yeah. Or harsher penalties for going over the tax brackets, but that's when your payroll is almost $300 million, and there's teams in Major League Baseball that are at 50.
There's a problem. Yeah,
and now there's expanded playoffs, so now you're gonna have a team that's got 3 times the payroll of another team, and they're gonna be playing against each other, and it's just gonna be a sweep. And Major League Baseball is gonna be like, why aren't the playoffs more competitive?
Oh, gee, I wonder why. We took away the shift.
Yeah.
Smart ass.
So you mentioned Hader's fastball. The other thing you have with Josh Hader is he's got a slider that moves 9.5 feet. So those are the 2 things that Josh Hader's going to throw. He's going to throw you a 97 mile an hour fastball or an 87 mile an hour slider, and it's going to be hard to tell which one's which because you're not going to have a lot of time to react to it because he does keep that ball hidden so long.
Agreed. It's just
all right.
It's tough.
Other couple guys.
And then he's got the hair flow, man. He's got the hair
does.
flow. So you're seeing him up there. He's looking slick, and then he gives you a 97 right to your chin. Let's go. That's how it's done.
A couple other guys to maybe eating some innings. The Brewers did trade for Juan Carlos Mejia from the Cleveland Guardians for a player to be named later. We do still have Brent Suter. He's going to be back in the bullpen. He had 12 wins last season. In 61 games, he pitched 73 and a third innings. He only had a 3.07 ERA, so that's pretty solid from Brent Suter coming out of the bullpen. Other couple names to keep an eye on: Alec Bettinger, Miguel Sanchez, John Gustavi, Trevor Gott, and maybe Dylan File. I did see that he got optioned to AAA, so he might be up and down, one of those up and down guys. But and then maybe Aaron Ashby and Ethan Small. If there's a 3-game series where they're not playing in AAA or something like that, they bring those two along. Maybe they'll pop up for an inning here and there. So Craig Counsell has his guys. He's going to find ways to get them on the field. Like Tim Dillard said, if you can play, Counsell will find a way on the field for you.
So can we pause real quick and respond to this comment right here? Respond to that real quick? Because as far as I know, that is a Cubs fan. And we're predicting Yelich to get 40 home runs, which is probably about where the season total for the Cubs will be in home runs, because they're going to be awful. Awful. They're going to be terrible, man.
Like Patrick Wisdom will hit some homers, and they did just get Seiya Suzuki from Japan, but that team is destined to be competing for third place with the Reds and the Pirates.
Yeek. That's not where you want to be mentioned.
No.
Absolutely not.
I mean, the Pirates are the Pirates, and the Reds just traded like all of their players to the point that Ken Griffey Jr. is the 6th highest paid player for the Cincinnati Reds this year.
I bet you Yelich is going to get close to RBIs and home runs. Well, I'll bet you that the Cubs definitely lose 100 games.
That's good. They can parlay that a little bit. Have a couple.
Hey, we can bet on this show. It ain't illegal. Brendan Davis is the truth. I don't know anything about Brendan Davis.
I don't know who that is.
I guess we're gonna find out if he's the truth.
I mean, if he's a AAA player, he'll be on the Cubs this year because the Cubs are gonna have a AAA roster. So.
Yeah, they are. They're gonna be down and out for a few years. So I'm gonna kick them while they're down. That's the kind of guy I am with Chicago.
I don't think the Cubs are going to lose 100 games, but I bet they'll be flirting with 90 losses.
Yeah, I don't think they'll lose 100 either. If you lose 100 games, you're pretty bad, man. Your
Baltimore Orioles bad.
Yeah, I can't believe, dude, they did that like multiple years in a row too. That's freaking sad.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's Detroit Lions-ish.
Yeah. Or Chicago Bulls versus top 3 seeds in either
conference. Dig it in. Oh, dig it in.
I figured while we're taking shots at Chicago, I mean,
dig it in. No,
I mean, it's possible that the Cubs aren't as bad as we think, but they're not in the league of the Brewers and the Cardinals.
I'm just talking shit, man. I just don't like Chicago teams, so I just talk shit.
I mean, we didn't predict the whole NL Central. We predicted the Brewers records, but if I were to predict a record for the Cardinals, I'd probably put them around 75 wins. That would be my guess.
That's realistic, and that's not terrible.
Right. Slightly under 500 would be my prediction. But let's move into position players. So, do you want to do outfield first or infield first?
Infield.
All right,
I'm more excited about infield.
I think I'm a little more excited for the outfield, but we'll see what happens. So let's.
All right, pie, Jake. Why am I always betting a fucking pie, man? God damn it!
That's just guaranteed for Jake to lose. So I don't know if I.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I just thought, I'm like, if I bet a pie, I'm gonna lose. So I'm just not doing that. I'll start. I'm gonna start with catcher Omar Narvaez.
Yep.
I mean, the guy was everything last year. He had a pretty good average, 266, one of the best on the team. Yep. 11 home runs, 49 RBIs. He was all-star.
Yep.
And he was the guy that was, key to all the pitching being as good as it was, calling the correct games and knowing where his guys like it. So having a good catch, the Brewers always seem to have a good catcher.
You know what goes along with that, with Omar Narvaez being a good catcher? He is the number 1 pitch framer 2 years in a row, according to MLB Statcast.
That a boy, okay. Dude, Tyler, there's so many. Oh my God, baseball gives me such a headache because there's just like, there's a number for this number, and I'm like, why is there a number on that number? That doesn't make sense. There's a drop box in every number for.
Dude, I wrote that article for players that could succeed at American Family Field, on which Andrew McCutchen made an appearance. So I just want to throw that out there that I called that.
Pat yourself.
Yeah. There's a stat that I use. It's called weighted runs created plus.
Okay.
And it measures it gives you, it's 100 is the benchmark, and it tells you based on like ballparks and stuff, it gives you kind of more of a fluid number of determining how good of a hitter a guy is. Takes a whole bunch of stuff into account. But there's a stat for that. Okay. So welcome to baseball.
Okay.
And then you can get into all all the stat predictors that there is for baseball. There's way more statistical predictors for baseball than there is for any other sport. Because there's Pacoda, there's Zips. You can get the fan graphs predictions. There's tons of stuff for baseball. Like you could fill a manual for the very first computer that ever came out. You could fill that with a year's worth of baseball statistics.
You really could, man. It's crazy. It is crazy.
All right. So did you look at who's potentially behind Omar Narvaez for backup catcher?
I don't have it written down, but I remember looking at it. What you got?
So there's I forgot his first name. It's Sullivan. He's been a AAA catcher his entire career.
Yeah.
He's never made it to the Major League Baseball. And then they signed Pedro Severino. I think he played for the Orioles last year. He's a veteran guy, so he's probably going to be the primary backup. And then as far as young guys, one guy that just got optioned, I saw him. He got optioned to AAA. Is Mario Feliciano. He's the Brewers' number 13 prospect in their top 30. So he'll probably get some spot innings here and there. I think he made 6 appearances last year in Major League Baseball. So he would be the third guy that I'd be looking at. So switching over to first base.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting position. First base is going to be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen here. It's going to be Rowdy Tellez is going to start opening day. This was painful to learn and to hear and then to write down and now again to say it. The Brewers have had a different opening day starter at first base every single year since Prince Fielder left.
Dude, we are literally the Colts. We are literally the Colts at first base. Look at their quarterback situation. They've had a different starting quarterback for like 7 straight years or something like that now.
It's like 10 for the Brewers.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
Different starting first baseman every opening day since Prince Fielder.
Wow.
And honestly, I don't know who the primary backup is. Like, I mean, is it Keston Hiura? Is it a free agent? Is it Jace Peterson?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know if they'll look to bring anybody up. I mean, I don't really know who else they're going to stick at first base. That's a backup first baseman is a potentially concerning one for me. That's why I threw out in my bold predictions that maybe they'll make a move for a first baseman. I'm not sure what they're going to do there, but
I mean, Keston's going to be a DH, right? Like our primary DH, right? Like that.
Andrew McCutchen, I think, is going to be the primary DH.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Keston Hiura, I'm sure we'll get some games at DH for sure.
I mean, it just sucked because Keston here, the first, the year before, he was just raking, man. We're just looking at this guy. We're like, I will deal with his errors because this guy hits dingers and he, brings people home. And that's what it came down to. But last year was just tough year, man.
And really it's worth noting again, he dealt with personal issues last year. His mom had cancer, so he was going with that. So that is possible that was what was affecting him. So maybe we'll get a bounce back year from Keston Hiura, which would be huge.
Yeah, that would be absolutely massive. I mean, if you look at Tellez and Hiura, their potential together. I mean, you got a lefty and a righty. I mean,
both they don't play power.
Yeah, they don't play the best defense, I guess. I mean, last year I called Rowdy Tellez. I said he has the agility of a refrigerator, so that's pretty rude. But I mean, if both the guys can hit up to their potential, I think we'll be okay over there, man. I think we'll be okay.
All right, how are you feeling about second base?
He's real good, and he's still the swag king.
I'm still salty that he didn't win the Gold Glove last year. That is such garbage.
Yeah,
he didn't win the Gold Glove.
He hits for average. He's a slick fielder. I mean, no more juice. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Tellez or Colton Wong. Geez, now Wilkins is just messing with my brain. Colton Wong. I mean, he's just a monster. He does everything. He's a good lob guy. He hits for average. He stops runs. I mean, wins above replacement. He's very good, and he has 50 RBIs. So that second base usually isn't a run producing spot, but he did a pretty good job in my opinion. He's our leadoff hitter. So Colton Wong is very good. We are very strong at second base. We are very strong up the middle, I will say.
Yes, I agree. So the other guy the Brewers brought in to back up second base is Mike Brousseau. They brought him in from Tampa Bay. Apparently there's a super strong connection between Milwaukee and Tampa Bay. Milwaukee is like the Tampa Bay of the NL. And actually the parallels are pretty close if you look at it. But So these teams kind of work together a lot, it seems. And so I'm looking at Mike Brousseau as the primary backup second baseman. Jace Peterson probably play a lot of backup second base.
I didn't know where to put Peterson. I just put baseball player. That's really what I put, because I put first base, second base, and I was like, dude, where the hell does Peterson play?
Everywhere.
I've literally seen him play 2 through 9, basically, not catcher, but
everything but catcher.
He's 3 through 9.
Yeah, and through like 2 innings of baseball.
Right.
So to answer the snarky Christian Yelich question, first of all, he fractured his kneecap. Like, I can't even imagine like how painful that would be, like fracturing a kneecap. And then he dealt with a back injury after that. So coming into this season, I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit to the outfield, but Christian Yelich did say that he didn't use the best shape of his life, quote, but he did talk about using this offseason to get to know his body better, being in better shape, understanding his body better, kind of getting in shape in different ways and being more ready for the season. And like I said, understanding his body better was the way that he phrased it. So, I mean, it's a bold prediction. So it's something that, it doesn't necessarily look like it's something that's going to happen, but it could happen. So, we call them bold predictions. It's not like lukewarm predictions. They're called bold predictions for a reason. That's why we make them that way. Mm-hmm. But are you going to go across the field at 5th position, or are you going to go across the field in the order that they are? Do you want to go to shortstop or third base first?
I do shortstop first.
All right. We're rolling up to. I can't wait for May 22nd because we're going to celebrate Willy Adames Day.
Okay.
We had the Willy Adames bobblehead on May 22nd, actually. So the Brewers are thinking the same thing as us and having Willy Adames Day on May 22nd.
Brilliant marketing.
He was really the catalyst for the turnaround of the season last year. I really truly believe that. Like I said, he did receive some MVP votes. His energy is just absolutely infectious. He's great in the clubhouse. Reminds me of Carlos Gomez that way. And actually, he knows Carlos Gomez because they were together in Tampa Bay for a little bit. He plays really good defense. Has a great bat. Batted .285 last year. After the trade to the Brewers, batted .285, had an .886 OPS, which is on base plus slugging. And after the trade, this is a month and a half into the season, 20 home runs after the trade to the Brewers last year. So I love Willy Adames. I had to get a jersey last year already, and I'm excited to wear it a whole bunch.
Yeah, Willy Adames, man. What is there to say about him that hasn't already been said? His energy really, really just sparked a fire in the locker room. Man, he brought everything, and he really is the reason for the turnaround, man. He was amazing. And the smile, I can still see it in my head. I can still see Willy Adames' smile and how excited he is, and he just reminds you of a kid out there playing his first game. Every game feels like his first game, and every at-bat feels like his first at-bat. And we talked about his power to opposite field. That's something that should get mentioned. The guy can hit it all over the ballpark, hit for average, and he's just got a freaking cannon, on defense. He can throw some ropes, baby. So I am excited to watch Colton Wong and Willy Adames have a full season, a spring training, everything together. They're going to be really, really nice. And then we come to Tyler's favorite player on the team.
I stuck by him when people didn't.
You did.
And I'm glad I did.
I will give you your credit because you were the first one that told me, like, Luis Arias is the answer. Just give it time. Just give it time. Just relax. And he was everything, man. He hit for power, hit for average. He had a couple multi-home run games. I mean, and he had some errors. And, like we talked about, most of those were at shortstop. But I wanted you to go after me on this one because this is your guy. So I'm excited. I'm ready. So let me hear it.
This is a little spicy, but I'm going to say he was the Brewers' second best player last year.
You're talking like just position players?
Position players, obviously, yeah. Obviously, pitchers is separate because that would be a whole other thing. But as far as
Okay.
position players,
I don't think that's too crazy. I think you can make that argument pretty easily.
I still feel that he's underrated because I think people had such a strong attachment to Orlando Arcia that, and I understand, like Orlando Arcia, he was a good clubhouse guy too. He was a fun guy. People liked him. I mean, the thing with Arcia, it was time to move on. He needed a change of scenery. The Brewers had Luis Urias coming up. They needed to find out from the Trent Grisham trade, which we got Eric Lauer and Luis Urias. So I would say the Brewers definitely won that trade.
Yeah.
But actually, real quick, speaking of winning trades, the Brewers traded 4 players for Christian Yelich. All 4 of those players have now been designated for assignment and are out of Major League Baseball.
Wow.
All 4 of the guys that the Brewers traded for Christian Yelich.
Wow.
So there's that. Anyways, back to Luis Urias. It really seemed like Tim Dillard said the same thing, that the move from shortstop to third base was really the catalyst for him. I mean, he was overthrowing the first baseman, so maybe having to throw just this much farther, made it so that he was throwing the perfect distance.
Yeah.
And I think that the thing that surprised a lot of people is that he actually had some pretty good power. He hit 23 home runs last season. So we'll see if he can build on that, if he'll either be, around the same, or if he can jump that up to get over 25 and maybe push even 30 home runs would be insane. But I don't think it's fair to, say that it's outside the realm of possibility that Luis Urias could hit 30 home runs, especially if he gets off to a hot start and now that he's going to be playing every day. In addition to Mike Brousseau and Jace Peterson potentially backing up Luis Urias, also Tim Dillard mentioned a guy that can rake, and it's Pablo Reyes. He came in last year, some spot innings here and there, some pop-up games, and he can rake. He can hit the ball really hard. So Pablo Reyes will probably end up getting some games at third base this season too.
I just want to give a shout out to Pablo Reyes because the game I went to was his birthday, and that was the only home run he hit all year. Was on his freaking birthday. His first at bat on his birthday was lit, man. That got everybody out of their seat. Pablo Reyes, I like him. Young guy. That'll be good if he can give us some good at bats.
Yep. Wilkins, I did not know that Brinson signed to a team. It doesn't shock me that he signed with another team, but as far as any of those guys are concerned, if they get signed somewhere, it's going to be to play minor league baseball.
Yeah, I'll take Christian Yelich. That's good. I'll take that trade, even though people think he wasn't close to the ball.
Yeah. He still batted .248 last year.
Yeah,
in 117 games.
That's a real. Yelich had a struggle last year. He wasn't good. Let's not work our way around it. When you win an MVP, you create standards for yourself. He didn't meet the standards. It happens, man. But there's also stories of people bouncing back and returning to form, which is what Tyler and I are predicting.
Yeah.
If Yelich returns to form, this Brewers team instantly goes from okay, the Brewers are pretty good, they could probably push the Dodgers, to okay, this team could win the World Series. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, Christian Yelich. Obviously he's still not the best defender. He's capable, but he's in the lineup to bat. And we're going to need him to hit some home runs. We're going to need him to drive some people in. And that's all you know.
If he's not dealing with a lingering back injury like the entire season and he's in and out of the lineup constantly,
yeah,
I think that would go a long way in creating some consistency for him. But the next guy that I'm looking at is Lorenzo Cain. He's in the last year of his contract. He said he might hang it up after this year. He's going to, kind of wait and see. He's in the last year of his deal, but he's still a good defender. He's still a Gold Glove level defender. Yep. And if he's in the lineup, you feel pretty good about your defense in center field.
Yeah, you do. And that's all I have written down, too, is every once in a while he'll give you a home run. He'll get on base, and he's still got decent speed when he gets on the base pads. But he is a great defender in center field. He still covers a ton of ground. He still runs into the wall, makes those crazy catches. He still robs home runs. That's what Lorenzo Cain does, and he's also a guy that, is always smiling, always happy. So he has a positive attitude on life, which is something that, we're trying to enforce into the real world from our show as well. So Lorenzo Cain is definitely always welcome on our show. He's one of our favorites.
Yes, for sure. It'll be interesting to see how we do with that when we get to the Badgers, but we have a little bit more to couple more guys to talk about with the Brewers.
We're going to smile through pain.
So there's basically 3 more guys that we're looking to talk about. And it's going to be Hunter Renfroe, Tyrone Taylor, and Andrew McCutchen. Basically, Hunter Renfroe is the Avisail Garcia replacement. Traded him for Jackie Bradley Jr. back to the Red Sox. Got Hunter Renfroe returned. He hit 31 home runs last year for Boston and their weird left field. I mean, he's a left-handed hitter, so it's not going to matter as much. But he's coming in. He's basically going to be a starting right fielder. He's replacing basically all of the batting production we lost by Avi Garcia signing elsewhere. So that's basically what I'm looking at with Hunter Renfroe. If you follow the Wisco Fanatics page, you see it, I think it was last week sometime, listening to what Hunter Renfroe had to say about his defense. And the quote just struck me perfectly. That made me laugh super hard. But he said he's going out there, balls out, to do whatever it takes to get the pitcher out of the inning. It's a really weird quote, but it was funny, so we had to share it on the page. So that was funny to see. And
he made it work.
It's the lighthearted nature of a lot of these guys. I don't know. We could share it on the page if people want to see it more, if they don't follow the Brewers and their social media. Just the guys going through creating all their promos and all their, their intros that show up on the video board and stuff like that when we're coming up to bat. But like guys talking about the tape on the ground and laughing at each other and they're bumping into each other, and just the lighthearted nature of a lot of these guys makes it seem like they'd actually be genuinely fun people to be around.
Yeah, like that's why, I said before, you could tell that they just love being around each other. It's not like they're being forced because they're on the same team. They just actually enjoy each other's company. Hunter Renfroe, man, 31 homers, you said 96 RBIs. That was 30th in MLB. So we're getting a guy that's a run producer. And Miller Park, I'm still going to call it Miller Park, is a run-producing ballpark in a lot of ways. You can hit a lot of home runs there.
Yep.
I'm expecting to see a lot of upper deckers from him. But yeah, he's going to be a really, really nice addition. On top of that, did you write down McCutchen's stats?
I did.
Yeah, McCutchen's going to be awesome too, man. That was a great signing for us. He's going to be a great bat in this lineup. I wrote down their combined stats because that's what we're adding to this team. And it's 58 home runs, 176 RBIs, and I averaged their average out, and it's about 240. So if they hit 240, give us some home runs, some run production, that's all we're asking for.
So I'm looking at, with Andrew McCutchen, he's probably going to play more DH than outfield. But the reason that the Brewers brought in Andrew McCutchen, you got the 27 home runs. But now listen to this against what he does against left-handed pitching. So this is against left-handed pitching. 15 of his 27 home runs are against left-handed pitching. He only had about half of the at-bats against lefties than he did against righties, and he hit more home runs against lefties in about half the at-bats. Against left-handed pitching, Andrew McCutchen, 293 average.
Okay.
And a 127 OPS. That's on base plus slugging.
Okay.
Andrew McCutchen loves left-handed pitching. He eats it for breakfast.
Okay,
so
I like that.
That when you see Brewers going up against a left-handed starter, expect Andrew McCutchen to be the DH that day.
Yep, 100%. He's gonna, like you said, he's gonna be DH a lot. So
yeah,
it's gonna be a good year in Milwaukee. I think another lot of wins this year.
Yeah, and they, while they may not have loaded up on offense, but swapping out, Jackie Bradley Jr. / Avi Garcia for Hunter Renfroe and Andrew McCutchen, and then more playing time for Tyrone Taylor. Tyrone Taylor is going to be basically the primary backup to all the positions. And we know the Brewers last year dealt with a lot of injuries in their outfield. Lorenzo Cain missed a ton of games. Christian Yelich missed a handful of games. And, Jackie Bradley Jr., despite his hitting woes, played basically every single day because he was a good defender and because he was healthy. So if Tyrone Taylor stays healthy, he's going to get a lot of playing time. He hit 12 home runs in 93 games last year. Tyrone Taylor kind of owns Cardinals pitching. So, he's got that going for him. So that'll definitely be appreciated, right? And then, we passed over this with McCutchen, but he's another great clubhouse guy.
Yeah.
We shared the video when we were talking about Andrew McCutchen switching. He was originally going to be number 5 he was able to switch back to number 24, which is the number that he wanted for Ken Griffey Jr. And actually, while he was being interviewed about that, one of the other reporters actually called Ken Griffey Jr. and Andrew McCutchen got to talk to him. And it's like, you can see that, even though Andrew McCutchen is an MVP and he's been an All-Star like 4 times, I think, he still gets like, oh my God, I'm talking to Ken Griffey Jr. Like it's just cool to see. So we love seeing those videos and, seeing the guys as people in addition to being professional athletes.
Yeah, that's probably the best part about it is you get to see him actually show emotion. He doesn't have to be stone cold while he's facing a 3-2 pitch in the bottom of the ninth. Like he doesn't have to have that poker face on. So that's stuff that I like to get to see real life emotions.
All right. So in addition to Avi Garcia, who we did mention, the other key departures is no Manny Pena this year, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah, pineapple power.
Yeah. Eduardo Escobar is now with the Mets, and Daniel Vogelbach, I believe, signed with the Pirates. So Daniel Vogelbach signed with the Pirates. So those are really the 4 main departures. In the bullpen, Hunter Strickland signed with the Cincinnati Reds. I was kind of hoping the Brewers would maybe take a look at bringing him back, but he signed with the Cincinnati Reds. So that means that he's bound to be traded at some point.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you want to say before we make a record prediction?
No, man. Like I said before, it's going to be a lot of wins. It's going to be a good summer in Milwaukee.
A lot of great pitching will be fun to watch.
The Bucks are going to make another deep run, and we're going to watch the Brewers whoop up on the Cubs, the Pirates, the Reds, hopefully the Cardinals again, and we're going to have some big-time matchups with the Dodgers and the Giants and the Mets, and it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be a good summer.
All right, hit me with your record prediction.
All right, so like I said, my first record prediction was already written. It was 93-69. And then Boxberger came back, and I gave that 3 more wins. So I went 96-66 for the Brewers.
All right. We're pretty close. I went 95-67.
Oh, God, we were so close all the time.
That's pretty good. That's good stuff. I do think they'll finish first in the Central. I think the Cardinals are going to be right behind them. Probably something like 90 to 92 wins for the Cardinals. I mean, it's going to be September is going to be one of those things, but the way that the Brewers have been with Craig Counsell in September is like legendary stuff, like how good the Brewers have been in September with Craig Counsell. So the Cardinals did have a crazy hot September last year. So if they can do that again and the Brewers have Craig Counsell September, they call it Craig Timber, it'll be really interesting and probably potentially down to the last week of games to see who wins the NL Central.
Cardinals, they're always good. The Cardinals are always good, man.
The Cardinals are what the Yankees wish they could be when it comes to trades, and they're like, just trade us your best player. We'll give you like 5 guys you've never heard of.
Like you'll never hear of again.
The fact that they were able to trade for Nolan Arenado after having just traded for Paul Goldschmidt, like that grinds my gears.
Yeah. And those guys are just monsters, dude. They know how to hit the damn cover off the ball. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And then, they're solid at drafting and they always have good pitching, so whatever. Just Cardinals can go away.
I agree.
All right. Well, that's our Brewers Primer. If you have anything else to say about the Brewers.
No, I'm good, man. Let's as you say, let's rip this freaking Band-Aid off, man.
That is the exact quote that I was thinking of was ripping off the Band-Aid. All right. I'm going to slam the notebook down. We're going to do this. So I don't want to tell people what to do. My goal would be to inspire you to think differently about the way that you approach the way that you cheer for your teams. Now, stuff sucks once in a while, like the Iowa State game. As a Badgers fan, it really sucked. But stop doing the fire Greg Gard. This always happens. Johnny Davis is never going to make it in the NBA. These guys wouldn't be starters on any other team. Like you're a fan of this team and you're saying stuff like that?
Yeah.
Like I understand that this game was rough to watch. It was hard to watch. Watching a team make 2 out of 22 3-pointers and finish with more turnovers than field goals, it sucks. I get that.
It does.
the Badgers lost this game by 5 points. Their defense was awesome. This team played awesome defense. And you can contribute that to the individual players if you want, because the players are good defenders. But that gives me confidence that Greg Gard has a good defensive philosophy in mind, and he has a good culture and a good program that promotes guys wanting to play good defense. Mm-hmm. And the other big takeaway that I had from this game was the Badgers did really well at the free throw line.
True.
So those were my two big takeaways. You know, even though it was their worst offensive game of the year, they only lost by 5 points. So,
all right.
What are you thinking about this game?
At the end of the day, what happened in this game was Iowa State made the shots. They made the big jumpers. They made the fadeaway mid-rangers when they needed to. The Badgers did not. Honestly, when they lost Chucky Hepburn, we lost ball handling, we lost floor spacing.
Ball security.
Yeah, and that really, we lost Brad Davison coming off screens, which changed our entire offense. And it really made us kind of one-dimensional. It was like, all right, they're going to give it to Johnny Davis. And then if he doesn't score, they're going to give it back to Brad Davison. He's going to try to make a turnaround fadeaway jumper from the free throw line elbow. And it was like, it was some of the ugliest offense I've seen in a long time. I mean, for a team that we were raving about, playing a faster pace and scoring more and getting more possessions, to score 49 points, to be held by 49 points by an 11 seed, really, really hurts. And some of the stuff I was watching after the game, I mean, Johnny Davis was 0 of 7 from 3. 2 of 22 overall. You already mentioned that. His brother, Jordan Davis, when the game was in the balance, he got a couple wide open and off some really nice Johnny Davis passes too, little extra passes. It was like he had some really nice wide open shots, and it was like if he could have made a couple of those, that could have changed things, and we could be looking forward to a game against a 10 seed Miami. But the one that he made was the one where he grabbed and he turned around and looked like he was on the playground, and I was like, this guy, that's the one you make? Like, yep. I wanted to just turn my TV off after that.
He didn't bank it in. It didn't, like, rattle around the rim. It was
straight cash.
Straight cash. Absolute perfect swish. So, Brad in the comments said Tyler Wall getting into early foul trouble hurt. Tyler Wall had a lot of the team's turnovers, too, unfortunately, just because Iowa State packed the paint so hard. And losing Chucky Hepburn made it easier for them. I put this in my notes that I think that Chucky Hepburn being in the game, Jacoby Neath, and you mentioned Jordan Davis having open threes, I think Chucky Hepburn knocks some of those down.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
And then I mentioned already, more turnovers than field goals. Chucky's in the game running your offense. Chucky is a very good player for ball security. He's a really good point guard that way, that he doesn't turn the ball over. So I think that 17 turnover number comes down if Chucky Hepburn plays the second half.
Man, that was this is what it feels like to be a fan. You know, this is the feelings you get, and this is what I was talking about after that Packer game. Like, this is what it is, man. You're gonna have to deal with losses. You're gonna have to take them with the wins. I mean, we enjoyed the season. They still had a great season. Nobody expected them to win the Big Ten. Nobody expected them to win that Maui Invitational. I mean, overall, if you look at where we were projected to go, the season is still a win, but I don't work that way. To me, you look at you're an 11 seed and what we could have played against, this team was bound to be in the Elite Eight. I mean, that's just what it felt like. So, you know, it is what it is, but now we just move on. And now we got players moving on too. So when we get into our Brewers Primer for the next season, it's going to be really interesting to see some of the moves and the offseason stuff that happens. Johnny Davis is going to the NBA. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
Yep.
He's still in the top 5 big board projections. And when you're that high, you take the money. You cash in. So
he's not his draft prospect, you know, his draft capital, whatever. It's not going to get any higher than it is now.
No. And, you know, on top of that, Brad Davison gave us 5 good years. So I want to thank Brad Davison. Want to thank Johnny Davis. I mean, they gave us some memories, man.
I want to throw out a bold prediction for Brad Davison. I want to throw out a bold prediction that Brad Davison is on the Badgers coaching staff next year.
Ooh, next year? I think he'll take a year off. get his mind right. He's going to get married. Maybe take that honeymoon year. The next year, though, the year after that.
So you're feeling 2023, 2024
yes,
season.
That's when I'm thinking Brad Davison makes his. Brad Davison returns to Madison, this time on the bench. Yeah, I already see. You think he'll play overseas?
I don't think he's going to play overseas. He's been pretty outright about wanting to get into coaching.
Yeah, he's talked about that. I remember.
And Greg Gard has talked about him being basically a coach on the floor. I think I don't know. I don't say it's outside the realm of possibility that Brad Davison continues a playing career somewhere, but I think he's really looking to get into coaching sooner than later.
I agree.
All right. Now, what I said about this game, we're just going to be beating a dead horse here by mentioning that the Badgers had a bad offensive game.
Yeah.
What I said about this was that great teams can overcome bad offensive games and still win. And to me, unfortunately, the Badgers are just a good team. And, it wasn't a secret that the Badgers, they did not have a very deep bench. I mean, having Lauren Bowman could have potentially helped this team. He's still dealing with illness stuff. So that is what it is. Lauren Bowman was kind of a guy that I was hoping could carry some of that 3-point shooting load for the Badgers off the bench. But it got to the point where basically Chris Vogt, another guy that's going to be leaving the program, he's a senior too, basically became the Badgers' best bench player throughout the last 4 games of the season. And, he did his best to contribute here. I mean, he had the Badgers like only 2 points for like 7.5 minutes in the second half. But, it is what it is. I mean, Isaac Lindsey got playing time. The guy that we hadn't even talked about since we did the primer for the Badgers.
Yeah.
It's I hate saying it is what it is, but that's how it is for the Badgers. But the thing is, next year, Chucky Hepburn's going to be back. Tyler Wall is going to be back. He was just a junior this year. Yeah. Stephen Crowell is going to be back. I mean, we're returning 3 out of 5 starters. Last year, we couldn't say the same.
I'm really hoping that Crowell bulks up or finds confidence behind the arc. He's got to do one of the two.
Yeah, I agree. The fact that he gets pushed around because he's thinner. So, the Kofi Coburns of the Big Ten were able to push him around. Zach Edey, for example, was able to push him around. And then, he got to a point where he wasn't making shots, and then he wasn't even looking to score anymore. It happened late in this game where he got a catch on the block, and he didn't look at the basket. He turned and looked to pass back out to the perimeter.
Yeah.
So Crowell's got some work to do. He's going to be, I would say, in my opinion, he's going to have the most to prove next season.
He's going to have the most growth, and he's going to be a very important player for us.
Yep.
We're going to be doing a lot of 1 and 5 pick and roll, pick and pops next year.
Yes.
So, we're going to look forward to that. It's going to be interesting.
I look forward to more Chucky Hepburn next season. We predicted that he was going to be the starter day one. We ended up being right about that, but I don't think we thought that he would become as crucial of a player as he became over the course of the season.
No, his growth was huge. And maybe over the summer he'll add a couple more tricks to his bag, and maybe he can make an all Big Ten team next year. We don't know. Who knows? Nobody saw Johnny Davis being one of the 4 finalists for the Player of the Year. It's crazy.
I was excited for Johnny Davis this season. Like last season ended, and he was averaging his 7.5 points, and it's like, oh, Johnny Davis is going to get the keys to the car next year. Mm-hmm. That's Chucky Hepburn is the guy next year. Yeah. It's going to be Chucky Hepburn, Tyler Wall, and Stephen Crowell, but Chucky Hepburn is going to get the keys to the car next year.
It's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be a weird year in Madison.
Yeah, we'll see what happens as far as recruiting and transfers and stuff are concerned. I did see Matthew Moores, one of the guys that you liked when we did our primer. He did transfer out, basically wanting to be back closer to home. So it does sound like he's transferring to South Dakota.
He was just homesick is what they said.
Yeah. See, Brad said, I think Wall is the guy since he needs to become more than a role player that has more to prove. I think Tyler Wall, he's it's pretty much known what he's going to do. I mean, if Tyler Wall could improve his 3-point shooting next season, that would be a big
even
thing.
Even a mid-range, Jesus criminy.
I mean, yeah, if he could go if he could build his game similar to like EJ Liddell, where like he can back you down in the post, but like if he can develop like even just a post fade, like I mean, I saw people questioning like, does Tyler Wall even look at the hoop when he's backing down? It's like he probably looks once, and then he's getting to his spot, and once he knows by looking at the floor where he is, where the basket is.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tyler Wall is a really good back to the basket offensive player. He just needs to be within 8 feet to really be a threat.
Yeah.
So if Tyler Wall can expand his range, whether it be 3-point or mid-range or even a post fade, I do think that would go a long way for Tyler Wall's development. But as far as needing to improve and having things to prove, I would really go with Steven Crowell, especially as well as he was playing like the middle chunk of the season. Where it's like, we're talking about Crowell always making timely threes and he's the starting center. And then it got to postseason play and it was turnovers and early foul trouble for Crowell. So, he's going to have the opportunity at the center position next year. He's going to be the only center on the roster. So, in my mind, it's Crowell that's got more to prove than Tyler Wall.
Crowell has to improve as a rim protector as well on defense. And something that I think, Wall doesn't have to get a jump shot. It'd be nice if he had a little mid-range.
Yeah.
But even if he can improve his ability to dribble drive to the rim and not just have to back down everybody, if he can improve just being able to be like, okay, I'm going to give you a jab step, I'm going to take one dribble and get a layup. If he can improve that way as well, that will create more offense for him.
Yeah.
He's a good free throw shooter. So if he could take you off the dribble a little bit, 1-2 dribbles, make a move, pump fake, something like that. Same thing with Crowell, man. I mean, if he could just give you a pump fake and one dribble and do a pull-up from a mid-range, that's something that can be huge for us. So there's potential. The Badgers are always there. They're always hanging around. They're always competing. They're always making the big dance. So, we'll see what happens.
And let's just put this to bed. The Badgers have a good coach.
Yeah.
Greg Gard is a good coach. He's got big shoes to fill coming from Bo Ryan, but Bo Ryan put him here. He was an assistant for Bo Ryan for a long time. So Greg Gard is a good coach. I did see some people come around on him when he got the Coach of the Year award for the Big Ten, but it's crazy to see how fast people turn on him when the Badgers lose a game. Like Greg Gard's not shooting the threes for the players, guys.
Just look at Packers fans. Rodgers. He loses a playoff game. Oh, let's get rid of this guy. Oh my God.
It happens with every team too. I mean,
It's ridiculous.
You look at the Bucks. The Bucks lose the first 2 of the Brooklyn series, and it's like, okay, the Bucks are gonna not go anywhere. It looks like the Nets are gonna sweep the Bucks. Whatever. We need to fire Budenholzer and trade Middleton and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Brewers, like the Brewers are never going to win. The Brewers window has passed. I saw somebody say that the other day, that the Brewers window is closed already after this season because they're not going to be able to afford to keep guys. Like a bunch of their pitchers are still arbitration eligible. Like Corbin Burns is on the books for like $5.6 million this year. Like Brandon Woodruff's making like 6.5. Hader's making 11. It's like these guys are still in arbitration. Nobody on the Brewers is making $35 million.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Brewers window is open. The Bucks window is open. The Badgers, the Big Ten is tough as far as the regular season is concerned. I don't know what the deal is with the Big Ten and the Big Dance, but
they just beat the shit out of each other all year, man.
That's
They're tired. Beat the shit out of each other all year, man. Even Nebraska was starting to beat people at the end of the year, including us. So Big Ten is tough, man. That's what the AFC West is going to be like in football.
That's true.
They're all going to whoop the hell out of each other.
So, it's not fire sale on the Badgers. It's not, the Badgers are only going to win 15 games next year because guys are graduating. Like Greg Gard, he went and got some transfer guys this year. He's going to understand the process a little better. He'll probably bring in more transfers next year.
Yeah.
He's going to need to replace 2 starters next year. So how he goes about doing that, we don't know yet, and we'll definitely do a Badgers primer when that season comes around. But this game sucked. but it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of Badger basketball. And, it's not to the point that we need to fire a coach or go straight to bashing players. Like, that's not what we want people to think or how we want people to think. Again, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but that's one of the things that we want to do with this show is be able to take away positive things and, dwell a little less on the negativity.
I mean, you'll probably feel better day to day if you don't dwell on negativity. Just saying.
Yeah. So, things suck once in a while, but come hang out with us and we'll talk about it.
We'll help you.
Did you want to say anything about the Colgate game specifically?
I mean, Colgate came to play. Badgers were kind of struggling in the first half. It was tied 28-28. They ended up pulling away late. Johnny Davis played pretty well in that game, especially late. And I don't have anything really special to say. I mean, sucks. We lost in the round of 32. How do you think Kentucky feels? They lost the first day.
That's true. Kentucky lost to a 15 seed. And, when that first happened, I'm like, cool, maybe Johnny Davis can go on a run and strengthen his player of the year, candidacy. Yeah. And then the Badgers lost on Sunday. But
yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, it'll be a university of opportunity next year as far as the team goes. I mean, the team isn't going to have a clear-cut leader like it had this season coming in with Brad Davison and Johnny Davis.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see what they can do.
Yep.
All right. Do you have anything else you want to say about the Badgers?
No, I'm mad at you, so I don't want to see you until fall.
I want to see the Badgers this summer, but that's football.
Oh yeah, I'm talking Badger basketball. I'm mad at you, so don't want to see you till fall.
All right. Well, we put the Badgers in there first, so we could purposely end on a higher note with the Bucks. So let's start talking about the Bucks. Let's start with the Bucks and the Kings. That game, Bucks were getting some points from everybody in the beginning of the game, giving up some second chance points, which is annoying because I don't like it when they do that. Yep. Middleton was super hot in the first half. In the middle of the second quarter, the Bucks went on a 13-2 run. Middleton scored 9 of them, had 17 points in the first half. Giannis had 14 in the first half. But this game made me think the Bucks still had some work to do on the pick and roll. That's something that the Badgers figured out in the second half of the game against Iowa State. They just couldn't put the ball in the basket on the other end. But lots of back and forth in the third quarter, and then Giannis basically took over the third quarter. The Kings took the lead at 6 minutes and 50 seconds, and then again at 4 minutes, 10 seconds, and 3 minutes, 50 seconds. So the Kings took a bunch of leads here. Drew Holiday, I mean, we're going to talk about Drew Holiday a whole bunch. Chris Middleton hit a deep three-pointer with 2 minutes, 10 seconds. Game was tied at minute and 47 seconds, and the Kings did not score again. Bucks finished the game on a 9-0 run, a 15-3 run total. I don't know if you want to say anything about the game specifically, because there are some fun things to total up about this game.
Well, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be a nice guy, and I'm going to give credit to 2 players in the Kings. DiVincenzo played really well, had 19 points against his former team, obviously. And then Davion Mitchell, rookie from Baylor. Badgers fans, we know about him. He ended our season last year. He's a really good player. He's tough. He's going to end up being a pretty good player for the Kings over there. And the Kings, man, I mean, Brad said it in the comments last week. He said that the Kings are a different team since that trade, and I feel it. I see the mental toughness changing a little bit. They're kind of changing the environment around that team as not such a loser team.
Yeah.
They feel like in a couple of years, if they put the right blocks in place, they could be competitive. They won't be the laughing stock. They won't be the laughing stock.
The Kings now remind me of what the Grizzlies were 2 years ago.
I agree with that. I'm with that. I mean, they're putting the right pieces in place. So they get up and down. They like to run. They got athletes over there. And when you're bad for so long, you should be good at some point, right?
I mean, the Lions just stay bad, but that's that is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Middleton 7 of 10 from 3. That's insane.
That's awesome.
The guy was on fire, literally. They had 47 rebounds to the Kings 39, so that's nice to see. I always look at rebounding and three-point shooting for some reason. That's just like big things for me. I mean, because three-point shooting is so aggressive or so important, and you got to be aggressive on the boards, and you got to show that you're the more physical team. You can't get pushed around. That's one thing that the Bucks don't do. One thing I wanted to really stress today is I feel like the Brook Lopez and Giannis Antetokounmpo duo down low on defense. I mean, those guys just understand where each other is going to be. And I really feel like it's underrated, man. I'm watching them in that Bulls game yesterday, and they just understand where, okay, Brook's going to be right there. Okay, Giannis is like, yeah, I could be over here on this side. And Brook's over there. Oh, so Giannis is probably behind me over here. It's just like, they just know. And I just really feel like it's underrated, man. That duo down low is just amazing. But Giannis had 36 and 10. He had a couple really nice jump shots in this game, too. It was like, this man is becoming a freaking beast, dude. He's a freaking monster. Like, seriously. He's doing fadeaway mid-rangers in the paint. Well, how do you stop him now?
He scored the last 12 points for the Bucks in the third quarter.
Hey, James, we always beat the Bulls, okay? And we're always going to continue beating the Bulls. And if we meet in the playoffs, God forbid, I'll tell you what, Griff is going to have a lot of practices during those games. That's all I know. You can tell him I said that too, because I don't care. But anyways, yes, Giannis was the man in this game at the end of the game. The whole game. He always is, you know?
That's true.
But I got nothing else. It was a good game. Kings competed, man.
So the Bucks big three, Giannis, Middleton, and Holiday, combined for 89 points and 22 rebounds.
Yeah, that's insane.
That is huge. Drew Holiday was the third best player in this game. He had 21 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Chris Middleton, in addition to being 7 for 10 from the three-point line, 32 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. That's a Giannis stat line.
He had 8 assists and 7 threes. We're going to win a lot of games if he does that.
Holy hell. 13 turnovers, that's okay. They gave up 22 points off of those 13 turnovers. So for me, Jake mentioned that he looks at rebounds and three-point shooting. I look at missed free throws, second chance points, and points off turnovers. Those are my fundamental failures. That's what I call that. I haven't found a good way to quantify what's good, what's bad, what should dictate if you win or lose yet. But, you're spotting teams' points by not doing things that you should do fundamentally. So for this game, Bucks missed free throws, second chance points, and points off turnovers. 9 missed free throws, 17 second chance points, and 22 points off turnovers. That's 41 points that the Bucks spotted the Kings.
What?
Yep, there it is. I actually just got the notification as well. The New York City is lifting the mandate. So
bring it. Bring it. I fucking want it.
Do.
I want the smoke.
You want to beat teams when they're at their best.
No excuses.
That's what you want.
This is exactly the same reaction I had when Tom Brady came back. I fucking love it. I do not run from none of this shit. And this is exactly how Giannis feels. Giannis does not run from shit.
I guarantee you that is exactly how
Let's go.
Feels.
Now I want the Nets. I want them.
Because you can do this with any team. You can do that if this and this hadn't happened, or if this player wasn't injured, or if this wouldn't have happened. You could do that with any team. But the Bucks had that. A lot of people are like, oh, they're the worst title winners since whatever. Like, still won the title. Still got the towel and the pennant. It happened.
I'm still going to buy my hat.
They're giving away replica rings tomorrow. If you want to go be one of the first 10,000, you get a replica ring tomorrow. But anyways, back to the Bucks-Kings game. 18 for 35 on threes. 51.4% on threes. That'll do.
That'll do.
And 52.8% on field goals. So, if I can figure out a way to measure my fundamental failures thing, I can figure out a better way to quantify that. But moving on to the Bucks and Timberwolves game, we said it last week when we kind of mentioned what's coming up next for the Bucks, that this is not the Timberwolves of yesteryear. No. This Timberwolves team has turned a corner. They are a playoff team. Them and the Cavaliers are on very similar trajectories. So we see the Cavaliers a little bit more often because they're in the Eastern Conference and they're in the Bucks division.
Yep.
They're very similar cases. They're teams with a handful of young guys that are turning a corner. I personally don't think the Timberwolves are ready to contend yet. but they're going to get some playoffs experience this year. Karl Anthony Towns is a monster. Anthony Edwards is a solid player. Jared Vanderbilt is a solid player. D'Angelo Russell is a solid player. So even though I was super crazy sick during this game on Wednesday night, I caught as much as I could of it, and I still have some takeaways, but I will let Jake talk first about the Bucks Timberwolves game.
Yeah, so I watched this game, and it just, there was no Giannis in this game, first of all. Chris Middleton didn't have his best game. It is what it is. But I was very encouraged to see how good, Pat, his first game back, he made 5 threes. He's 5 of 11. So I'm trying to take the positives out of this game. Brook Lopez looked awesome. He looked like he was moving good. He was dunking the ball. He was hitting three. Or no, he didn't hit a three, but he was dominating down low. He was playing that good paint defense, and he got a couple easy dunks, a couple layups. But the Timberwolves just shot the hell out of the ball, man. 22 threes they made. I know the Bucks made 19, but we shot 52 of those son of bitches, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy Jesus, what happened to basketball? 52 three-point attempts, and then they shot 47. But they were on fire for a little while. It literally felt like when they shot it, it was going in. I'm not lying. That's what it felt like with them. But we won the rebounding battle. They had 30 assists as a team, which is
crazy.
Crazy benchmark. But like I said, they were on fire from three. We only shot 17 free throws. If Giannis plays, we're going to shoot 27 free throws because he's going to go and shoot 10 of them himself.
Right.
He would have dictated the entire pace of the game by himself. But
on both ends of the floor, too.
Yeah. It just is what it is. It's one of those games, the throwaway game. The Timberwolves were on fire. Karl Anthony Towns was pulling up from 30 and cashing it. And I was like, he's special. And he was doing Euro step layups. He's a good player, man. He's really good.
Karl Anthony Towns is about to get himself a Supermax contract. So that's going to happen. Had the weird pushing match that came into this because Patrick Beverley felt the need to come and push Serge Ibaka, which is not a great career decision if Pat Beverley has ever made one. Pushing Serge Ibaka is probably not it.
No, he pushed Bobby. He pushed
Serge. He ran up and pushed Serge while Serge was talking with.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Torian Prince, was it?
You're right. And then I don't understand why George Hill got kicked out. That still doesn't make sense.
Because he retaliated.
I understand, but he's just sticking up for his guy who got blindsided. That's how I look at it.
It's the retaliation of it that it's not.
Yeah, because it could have escalated, and I understand that point, but still in my mind, it's like George Hill isn't that kind of guy. You got to take his mindset into consideration too, I guess, but can't really do that with every one of them. So it is what it is.
I still want to see less dribbling. The Bucks seem to let their pockets get picked a lot by just dribbling so much. I do feel that besides Serge Ibaka and Bobby Portis, this wasn't a bad game for the Bucks offensively. Looking at Serge Ibaka and Bobby Portis, they combined for 8 points on 3 of 21 shooting and 1 for 10 from the 3-point line.
Yeah, Bobby's in a funk right now. He got going a little bit last night, but he's gotta pick it up, man. We're gonna need him again. Maybe give him a rest day coming up here.
Yeah. So looking at that, again, we mentioned this is not the old Timberwolves team. They're nipping on the heels of Denver right now.
Yeah, and Denver, if they were fully healthy, whoo, baby.
Yeah, they're not getting Jamal Murray back, I guess. They're saying Jamal Murray is not close, but they should get Michael Porter Jr. back, so that'll be some help for Jokic.
That'll be some floor spacing, some ball handling. He's long.
Yep. And then the other thing that I had from this was watching Mike Budenholzer's post-game press conference after this was that Brook Lopez met his next minutes goal for 20 minutes a game. So that we can transition into the Bulls game, and Brook Lopez is back in the starting lineup. Now, this is what I wanted to see, because you touched on this already, and I'm glad you did, that Bobby Portis is kind of struggling. I've been looking forward to Brook Lopez getting back into the starting lineup so Bobby Portis can go against second-unit defenses. And he's not going to see other teams' best power forward defenders. He's going to see their second-best power forward defender. Or we can get back to Bobby Portis lighting up second units and having 18 points and 9 rebounds every game.
Yeah, he went at Vooch a couple times last night, and it was like, please, continue to put Vucevic on Bobby Portis. That'll end great for you, Chicago. Man, I'm just going to start talking about this game. It was, man. Giannis,
I know you're excited for this. I know you're excited for the Bucks and the Bulls.
Oh, man. I love beating the shit out of Chicago. It fills my heart with happiness. Giannis, 25, 17, 5 assists, and 3 blocks.
In 29 minutes.
It's a freaking mouthful. Yeah, dude. Guy is a freaking monster. First thing I should have pointed out, the Bucks shot 61%. You think the Bulls are winning any playoff games when the Bucks are shooting 60%?
I want to play the Bulls so badly in the postseason. If I was any one of the top 3 seeds in the East, I would be wanting to play the Bulls. The Bulls are 0-16 against the top 3 seeds in each conference.
They're horrible.
0-16. That's crazy.
I shared that stat where they showed their record against all the playoff teams in the East, right? And where they only had like 2 wins here, 1 here, 1 here. And they're 2-1 against the Nets, and Bulls fans are like, we beat the Nets 2 times. Yeah, okay. I guarantee one game.
Probably while Durant was injured.
Yeah, Durant and Irving were out, and one game when Irving wasn't playing at home. Like, okay, settle down. But I shared that in there, and a Bulls fan actually said, it's not that bad, to be honest. I was like, bro, if that was the Bucks right now, I'd be real embarrassed.
I'd be nervous.
But the Bucks know how to beat good teams, obviously.
Yes.
So we're getting into this game, and, we see Brook Lopez scoring 10. We got Wesley Matthews giving us 11, 2 and 2. And I brought Wesley Matthews up right away because they had a really, really nice play in the middle of the third quarter where Brook Lopez gave a nice bounce pass down to Wesley Matthews, and Wesley Matthews made the layup. And I was like, that should be flipped, but that worked out really, really well. I really liked that. And then Brook had a really nice assist. His 2 assists were really awesome. Where he had a nice pass to Drew Holiday, who finished. Dude, Holiday was literally like a layup line for that guy last night.
Dude,
but Caruso's such a good defender.
Oh, my God. Did you see it was in the first quarter? Drew Holiday did a spin move into a step back for 3 and cashed it in Caruso's face.
Dude.
That was disgusting. Drew Holiday hit a spin move into a step back. Like, who does that?
Drew Holiday? The C's are on fire right now. I want to say the Celtics are on fire. That'd be a really, really great playoff series.
I would love to see a 4-5 with the Bulls and Celtics. I think the Celtics.
Oh, the Celtics will wipe them. The Celtics will wipe them, dude. I'm sorry.
I would take the Celtics in 6.
I just think the Celtics are on fire right now. I just think they're better. The Bulls just have no interior defense. They have zero.
It's almost as if I've been saying this entire season that the Bulls have nobody to defend Giannis.
Nobody has anybody to defend Giannis.
I mean, like I've mentioned, there's a few guys you can throw at Giannis.
Yeah, right. You can.
But the Bulls have nobody. I even thought that Tristan Thompson was a match for Giannis strength-wise, and then Giannis just like casually goes, puts one shoulder into him, backs him in under the basket, and dunks in his face.
Bro, I want to tell you about that. So I came home from work, and I'm sitting on the couch. My stepson's staying up because he had spring break this week, so he was able to stay up late with me, right? And we're watching the game, and Giannis passed the ball a couple times on fast break. He called that three-pointer that he made, by the way. When the ball went to Giannis, he was like, pull up! Giannis pulls up, cashes it. And then the dunk that he did that you're talking about, where he drives on him, gives him a shoulder, and dunks it, he was like, Giannis, just go dunk on him. He's a midget. All of a sudden, Giannis goes and dunks on him. I'm like, you got to watch more games with me, man. You're calling all the plays. I love this. But it was, I think it's time to bring it up, Tyler. The thing that we want to bring up. The master of the behind the backboard shot is Drew Holiday.
Dude, he's a weirdo.
How does he do that? Dude, my first thought was like...
purpose. Like, the first time he did it the other day was like at the end of a shot clock. This time he went and he put himself there on purpose.
And then they said he practices it. They're like, he practices
I bet he does. Oh, my God.
You know, I went from like, if I was going to play somebody on the Bucks and Horse, I definitely don't want it to be Chris Middleton. Now it's like, I still don't want to play Chris Middleton, but I definitely don't want to play Drew Holiday because I'm not making that shit. That's insane, dude. And they were showing, he did it like 4 or 5 times this year that they showed on TV yesterday. And I was like, holy shit, man, this guy is. And he did them all from the one baseline. And last night he went from the right baseline.
Yeah, he did. Yep.
That was crazy. Drew Holiday, 27 points, 7 assists. Like I said, he was having a freaking layup line last night, man. It was easy for him. It was left hand.
Drew Holiday had 27 points, 7 assists, 0 turnovers.
Yeah, that's the one thing
Zero
about Giannis.
turnovers. Yeah, Giannis racked up a lot of them, but Giannis had the ball in his hands a lot.
He made some really nice passes, but he needs to slow down a little bit, I think.
Yeah. So the Bucks ended the first quarter on a 13-0 run. You actually called me because you were on your way home from work at the end of the first quarter, and you're like, "Dude, what happened?" And
Yeah,
it's like you were like, the Bucks. It was just 20-20, and now it's 33-20. The Bucks ended the first quarter on a 13-0 run. They started the second quarter on a 9-0 run with Giannis on the bench. Balls just moving everywhere. They're playing good defense. The Bucks went on a bunch of runs in this game, and guys were hitting open shots when Giannis was getting extra attention. So it ended up being, from the end of the first quarter through the beginning of the second quarter, a 22-0 run. Now they get into the late second quarter. The Bucks are playing really good defense. They didn't commit their first defensive foul until there was a minute and 5 seconds left in the second quarter.
I know, I saw that. It was crazy.
They held Chicago to 43 points in the first half. Getting into the second half, the third quarter, that's where the Bucks struggle. It's where they've struggled for most of the season. The Bulls cut the lead down to 10. The Bucks pushed it right back up. They cut it down to 11. They pushed it right back up. Cut it to 68-57, 11-point lead. The Bucks responded with a 17-3 run to push the lead back up to 25 points.
That is what championship teams do.
That is
end of story.
Absolutely. And Drew Holiday capped it off with the behind the backboard shot we were just talking about. Catapults him into the fourth quarter, and he starts the fourth quarter on another run. Ended up being a 7-0 Drew Holiday run, and he had 12 points in the fourth quarter.
Drew Holiday
he's insane.
Really improved at shooting this year.
His offense is he's an all NBA defender, and now he's doing crazy things on offense.
Yep, I was gonna say that, bro. I said do your hand signals in here. His defense was right here, and his offense was like right here. You're like, he's pretty good on offense. He can control the pace. He can shoot a little bit. He's starting to get real close now. He's starting to become a really big impact on both ends of the court. And you're a 40% shooter behind the arc. You can't ask for any more than that. And he controls the ball most of the time, controls the offense. Drew Holiday is a match made in heaven for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Going from Eric Bledsoe to Drew Holiday, it's been night and day, and it's not the only move, but it's the move that elevated the Bucks to championship level.
I 100% agree. 100%.
And now the Bucks are getting healthy, so Pat Connaughton is back. He looks really good. He looks really good from the three-point line. Grayson Allen hit him with a pass, like right here. He caught the ball high, kept it high, and just went straight into his shooting motion. Straight cash. Next time he's in the other corner, Drew Holiday tries to do a wraparound pass that gets tipped. Pat Connaughton picks it up off the floor, shoots it, and cashes it. So, I mean, Pat Connaughton in 2 games that he's been back is 8 for 18 on threes, just shy of 50%.
I'll take that all day, baby.
All day. Giannis had his 40th double-double of the season. All of the starters were in double figures, plus Wesley Matthews, who started for Chris Middleton, didn't play in this game. Honestly, Brad asking, we need to see more from George Hill. I think Javante Carter has taken his job. George Hill, in my opinion, is the third point guard on the roster, even though George Hill is one of the first guys off the bench. He's kind of a veteran leader, but if I were putting the rotation together, I might give more of George Hill's minutes to Javante Carter. I don't know the extent of his neck injury that he had, but if he can get some more playing time and maybe know how to kind of deal with that, maybe George Hill can give the Bucks a little bit more. I would like to see what they got from George Hill the first time around, where he was the Bucks' best 3-point shooter in the bubble, and he was making 50% of his threes. That's the George Hill that I would like to have on the team.
He's still a trusted ball handler, for one, and he's still a very good length. He's a good athlete and he's a good long defender. So if you get into a situation where you need a good defender, he could still come in a spot and do that. But, I mean, Javante Carter has been way more than I expected. I was like, this guy plays defense. Okay. He comes in, he's just cashing threes.
He's 55% on threes since he joined the Bucks.
Making smart passes. I mean, Carter's doing really everything right now, in my opinion.
So, with George Hill, I feel more comfortable with George Hill than I did last year in the playoffs with Jeff Teague as the primary backup.
100%.
So I'm still good there. And now we throw Javante Carter in there, who I would feel comfortable throwing in for a few minutes here and there in the playoffs.
Oh, I want Carter to go on Irving so bad and him to get a stop for us to like win the series or something. Oh, I would absolutely abuse Net fans on the internet. It would be a bad day to be a Net fan.
That being said, Grayson Allen actually had some success driving to the hoop. I don't think that's something he really gets credit for. I think people see him as just a 3-point shooter. He can drive to the basket. He can drive. Multiple times. He did it twice in the fourth quarter too. So,
layup lines, bro.
I really believe that when Chris Middleton is back, I really believe this Bucks team could go 10 deep in the playoffs.
Oh,
most playoff teams, you want to have like a roster of 7 or 8 for your playoff rotation. I'm really comfortable with the Bucks going 10 deep on their roster.
That's why that conversation we were having pre-show, where they were like, the Suns are super deep. I'm like, yeah, you don't watch a lot of Bucks games, buddy. I wasn't even going to get into it,
Bucks,
but it was like...
Oh, man. I said this when we did the Bucks primer, and we were talking about getting into the season. That I believe the Bucks are the deepest team in the NBA. Now that they're getting healthy, and we went through all of this season where the Bucks had these bad games here and there, and it's like, that's where we missed Brook Lopez. That's where we missed Brook Lopez. Now we have Brook Lopez back, and it's like, people are realizing, like, I didn't realize how much of an impact Brook Lopez made. Defensively, rebounding, second chance points. We talked about it during the Warriors game most recently that Brook Lopez doesn't rebound a ton, but he gets people away from rebounds.
And you know what else Brook Lopez does? He's really good at those slap outs on offensive rebounds. He slaps the ball out from the other guys, and somebody else picks it up. He's really good at that. He's really good at boxing out. Obviously, he cashes threes. He defends the rim.
I love seeing Brook Lopez shooting with a smile on his face because he made like 2 in a row and then he kept shooting them. And it's like, you can see Brook Lopez is having fun.
He took a bullshit 3 yesterday. He took a straight up bullshit 3. He caught the ball. The guy was right there. He looked him in the eyes, asked him what his middle name was, and still shot it. I said, hell no. That was some bullshit. And then on the cast, they were like, settle down, big fella. Settle down. I was
Marcus Johnson he always reels them in.
Yeah, he does. He's like, settle down, big fella. I was like, that was some BS, dude. Straight up.
Pat Connaughton talked about working on his form while he was injured. So he worked on his shooting form. So if Pat Connaughton can become an even better shooter than he already was, like,
he only led the finals in threes made last year.
Exactly.
So no big
and he
deal.
made some really clutch ones during the Brooklyn series. So if we're going to continue getting more from guys that we were already getting good contributions from, like, I'm really excited for the playoffs to get going. That being said, who are your power pair this week? Giannis missed a game. Middleton missed a game. So I'm thinking you probably have Drew in there because Drew's done some crazy stuff. But I'm interested to see who your 2 are.
So you might laugh at me, but I took a different approach this week.
So did I.
I gave it to Brook Lopez.
Okay.
Because his impact on the floor is just instantly seen. Like, he doesn't even have to record stats, and you see how much better we are on defense and how much more fluid our offense runs. And then the other guy I gave it to was Pat Connaughton because he's that guy, like, you're really good, right? And you need that little extra spice. You need that guy that will dive on the floor, that'll grab that rebound, that'll hit 5 threes. Pat Connaughton can do all of those things. So I went Brook Lopez and Pat Connaughton this week just to kind of mix it up from the Giannis and Middleton and Holiday trend. Aiden kind of talked me out of giving it to Giannis last night. He was like, why don't you give everybody some love? And I was like, it's a good point. It's a good point, buddy.
So I did stick with one of the big 3. I did stick with Drew because I want to continue to stress how improved he is on offense from last season to this season.
Okay.
And the other couple things that I wanted to hit was, he's an all-NBA defender doing these things on offense. He looks
100%.
absolutely locked in on both ends of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So 20.67 points, 5.67 assists, 40% on threes, 54% on field goals in the last 3 games. And I want to, again, highlight the 7 assists, 0 turnovers against the Bulls last night. Turnovers are one of my big things, so 0 turnovers on 7 assists. I'd love to see that. And my other one, I went real different with this one. I went with Wesley Matthews for my other one.
Ooh, okay.
So Wesley Matthews, you know what he's going to give. He's going to give strong defense. He's throwing in some rebounds and some assists. His last 4 games, he's 9 of 15 on threes.
He's been hitting threes, man.
In the last week, he's 7 of 12 on threes, averaging a little over 9 points a game. So I went with Wesley Matthews for my other one in my power pair.
Yeah, Aiden, my stepson doesn't sit down and watch all the games with me. Obviously, as 9 years old, you don't want to sit there for 3 hours. It's tough. But Wesley Matthews hit a 3 from the left corner last night. I was like, watch him. He's going to grab the arrow and he's going to shoot it. And they ended up he hit a 3 and he did that. And he was like, oh, that's cool, you know. So I appreciate your Wes Matthews shout-out, man. That was awesome.
Yeah. All right. So looking at it, tomorrow night, the Bucks play the Wizards. It's going to be the first time the Bucks are seeing the Wizards with Kristaps Porzingis on the team. So
yeah,
that'll be
still
interesting.
Weird.
It is weird. Yeah. I like Porzingis. Like I liked it when he was on the Knicks and him and Giannis would have some back and forth, and it was the Greek Freak and the Unicorn. Mm-hmm. But he dealt with some injuries and now he's been traded twice. So we'll see what happens there. But I would expect the Bucks to win that game. And then Saturday and Tuesday should both have circles around them. Memphis is going to be, assuming everyone plays, it's going to be a great game to watch. You get to see Giannis against Ja Morant, and Memphis is just a pretty solid, well-rounded team.
Number 2 in the West, man. The freaking Warriors lost to the freaking Magic last night without Curry.
Yeah, that's weird. Whoa. And then Tuesday, we have to keep an eye on James Harden and Joel Embiid to see if they're even going to play, because apparently they're just playing like every other game or some shit.
You know why they're doing that. I'm calling it like I see it. They are trying to avoid Brooklyn. They do not want the 2 seed because they know the Nets are going to win that 7-8 game, right?
Right.
And they're going to end up as a 7 seed. They are scared as hell of Brooklyn. I don't care what nobody says. You're not changing my mind. They're scared of Brooklyn because Kyrie in that game, he played defense against Harden. And did you hear the quote of why Harden wanted to leave?
Mm-hmm.
Because he got called washed. Are you kidding me? How did this guy survive the Call of Duty lobbies as a child? There's no freaking way. You got called washed one time and you're mad. Come on, man. I hate everything about James Harden as a human being.
I do too. I think it's absolutely hilarious that he had the presence of mind to say that he felt victimized by the new rule that was made because of the way that he plays. How you can be he's really good. He's a really good basketball player.
Yeah, he is.
And it takes a high basketball IQ to be a playmaker in the NBA. But you're not smart enough to figure that they did that because of you, and it might as well be the James Harden rule?
So you just manipulated basketball for 5 years, and now you just want to...
He's just sitting there with a round peg trying to put it in a square hole. Like, why isn't this working? But yet he can drop 10 assists anytime he wants.
Anytime he wants, dude. Anytime, man. I mean, he just doesn't want to be that guy. He wants to be the guy that drops 50. And it is what it is, man. They really are trying to avoid the Nets. I don't care what anybody says. And I love that the Bucks are taking the approach like they did last year. Like, everybody's like, oh, they should try to avoid the Heat. The Bucks are like, nah, man, fuck
doesn't matter.
You're going to play them eventually, right?
Exactly.
Because the Heat are good. Same thing with the Nets. I've been telling everybody. We're eventually going to have to play the Nets. Yep. Why not make it in the first round?
Yep.
Let's just take away our biggest threat right away, and then we can just run through the rest of these pretenders. I am not one bit scared of the Heat. I really am not. I'm a little bit more scared.
Not in a 7-game series.
I'm a little bit more scared than I was last year. I am, but they still don't have enough consistent scoring, in my opinion, to hang with a team like the Bucks that literally in every game dropped 135, 119 in a loss, and 126.
Without Giannis in a loss.
Yeah, without Giannis, they almost dropped 120. Dude, I'm not scared of the Heat. And the Sixers, come on, man. Harden will take care of them. They're losing in the second round, guaranteed.
They have no depth in Philadelphia. They traded their depth and their best defender.
And Maxi's a good player.
Arguably their best defender.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Maxi. He's a good player. I actually like Maxi because he doesn't act like a complete d-bag, and he just goes out there and balls, man. He's a baller. He's a gamer, like Tyrese Maxey. And about the Celtics, how the playoffs are matching up right now, I could see the Celtics versus the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. That is a real possibility for me with how the seeding is working out. Because
I would be interested to see I would love to see a Celtics Bulls series. I think that would be interesting. And I would like to see a Celtics 76ers series. I think that would be a 7-game series. Ooh. That would be interesting.
Celtics Heat, who you got in that? That'd be interesting.
Celtics Heat. Oh,
the Celtics are just so on fire right now. They're playing as such a good team. And they can score. They can't play the
That might be the thing that gives me an edge. I think that would also be a 7-game series. But I think I'd give the Celtics the edge because I trust them more offensively.
The thing is, I'm going to be honest. I think I will take the Heat. I'm going to take the Heat against the Celtics. I do think it would go 7 games. It would be very interesting. It would be a very, very good series. But I'm going to give the edge to the Heat. I think the Heat would win that series. It would be very good, though.
The Heat still need to be healthy. That's the thing. That's the thing that makes me a little less concerned about the Heat. Kyle Lowry's not 100% healthy. Victor Oladipo's not 100% healthy. It doesn't seem like Bam Adebayo's 100% healthy. PJ Tucker has gone back to being the vanishing from three-point shooter. I think he's made like 1 3 in his last 5 games. After being 50% for most of the season. Mm-hmm. So, the Heat are a good team and they're well coached, and the Celtics are a good team and they're well coached. But as far as being well coached and having all the players on the floor and the depth of the rosters, I'm still going to stick with the Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks are the best team in the East. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Sorry. We got the best player on the planet. His name is Giannis. And after, that quote that is on Wisco Fanatics, after I heard the quote that he basically had a torn ligaments in his leg, and he's dropping 50 in the finals, that just makes that dunk on Chris Paul that much more impressive. It really does.
They made him a special brace that was supposed to protect his leg.
Yeah.
They made him a special one. They custom made him a brace that would go on his knee. You know what he said? Word for word, he said, "Hell no."
Dude.
That he wasn't wearing the brace. He laid it out there.
I love Giannis, dude. I love this man.
I'm subscribed to The Athletic, so I can send you the whole thing. But Giannis is, we've talked about it, and we've mentioned it a bunch of times, that we are watching greatness as it's happening.
Appreciate it. Let's appreciate it. Let's not let it go to waste, and let's not get sour. We could have 0 championships. We could just keep losing in the playoffs. Look at the Packers, right? But let's just appreciate it. Man, he brought a championship to Milwaukee in NBA culture. Dude. Yeah. Makes the block on 8, and seriously, Brad. He jumped off of that leg, basically. And it's Giannis is just everything, man. He's everything to Milwaukee. And if I was a betting man, don't let the Suns be in the finals again, because we will run through those little dudes again. They still don't have somebody to stop Giannis. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, if you don't have somebody to stop him, sure, you can throw different bodies at him and shit like that, but he's going to shoot his free throws, which he's better at this year. He's not going to take the pounding he took last year because he's got a little jump shot now. I'm sorry. Bucks in 6, baby.
That's what I would say, too. I would say Bucks in 6.
Bucks in 6.
That's all I got. I don't know if you have anything else.
Nah, man. Yo, I'm jacked up. I'm ready for playoffs, dude. But that Kyrie news, Brad, thank you for telling me before I could find out so I could react on live camera. That's how I feel. I never run away from shit, man. And I know Giannis doesn't. So you hit the nail on the head with that. That if the vaccine mandate is lifted and Kyrie's playing, and say the Bucks play the Nets in the first round, Giannis would absolutely 100% head first charge into that matchup. And he is our leader, and everybody else will follow. Let's do this shit.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we will be back next Wednesday. I think we'll probably take another 2 weeks yet before we do draft prep on the show.
We're going to want to get as much information as possible.
And we'll see what else the Packers do. we're getting close to baseball season. Got the Brewers Primer done. Had Tim Dillard join us today, which is always fun because that guy is hilarious.
Yes, sir.
So next week it's going to be mostly just Bucks.
Yeah, but we're gonna get in depth. We'll get a little bit more in depth in these breakdowns, and we'll get ready for playoffs. There's only like 9 games left now, right?
Yep, and Giannis needs 109, 110.
He had
100, I think it's 109. So
It's
109 points
109,
to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So,
Which, speaking of the Nets, he's on track to do against them.
we'll see what happens with that.
Soon to be a pie show.
Soon to be a pie show. We will see what happens with that. You know what? I'm just gonna pull it up. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, pull it up, man.
There are 3 brackets that aren't in the bracket.
Yeah, I think they
challenge.
deleted them though. I think they deleted them. So.
No, I mean, like I have one from Courtney, I have one from my dad,
Oh.
and that's just one other one that were paper ones that were sent in.
Okay.
So
Well-
we'll pull up the CBS one.
All I know is William White, but you might be coming on. We're gonna meet you.
That's funny. All right, let's see. Oh, I'm in 6th place. That's middle of the pack. I'll take it.
Well,
Oh,
right now,
Alex is in last right now. He's got the least amount correct. So we'll
I
see
know,
what
but
happens
look at
there.
his max points. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll probably have to go by number correct because looking at the ones that are off the thing, I don't know how CBS calculates their points, but
I think it was like 1 point for first round, and then it like went to like 3 points. I think that's how it went. But like the championship was like 32 points. They went up to 32, and I think they cut in half. So it was like 32, 16, 8, 4, and 1 point. That's how I think they went.
all right. Well, I'm right in the middle of the pack. Both of your and mine champions are out, so we got that.
So neither of us are taking a pie, in my opinion. So we both win. As long as you're not last, you win, basically.
If you ain't last, you're first when it comes to a pie bet.
Hell yeah, baby.
Brad right now, Brad is in line to win the Parker Johns gift cards. So
I know, Brad's
we'll
on
get
fire.
that stuff.
I told you to get in, man. Told you
All
to
right.
get in.
Well, if you got nothing else, I will see you next week.
No, I'm good, man. All right, Bucks in 6,